Recording in progress.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the July Greenfield City Council meeting. I know we're 5 minutes late. We're on summertime, I guess. So thank you all for being here tonight. We have several counselors who are on vacation and at least one who will be joining us remotely. So we will have to do everything by roll call votes tonight. So just wanted to put that out there. This meeting is being recorded by the City Council and the Greenfield Community Television 9. If any other persons present are doing the same, you must notify the chairperson at this time. We have the Greenfield recorder here. Thank you so much for being here. Clerk Scott, can we have a roll call of the members, please?
Councillor Golub.
Here.
Councillor Gordon.
Here.
Councillor Dilmas.
Here.
Councillor Bottomley notified us that he would not be attending. Councillor Bullock is not here physically or online yet. Councillor Williams.
Here.
Councillor Bolduc.
Here.
Councillor Webb.
Here.
Councillor Brown.
Here.
Vice President Garrett.
Here.
Councillor Minhas.
Yes.
Councillor Sippison Alves.
Here.
And President Wondolowski.
Yes, here.
President, you do have a quorum.
Thank you. Next is the Pledge of Allegiance, which is voluntary.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we're at the approval of minutes, and we don't have minutes right now. The superintendent, who is brand new, as well as the school committee chair, are unable to be here tonight, and we don't have a written update from them to go over tonight. So we look forward to meeting the new superintendent next month. So next, I'd like to have the mayor come up, and anyone else she wanted to bring with.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to start with an update on Poet Seat Tower. In May, one of our building inspectors identified structural issues with significant enough to require closing the tower. Unfortunately, the structure is in worse condition than we initially realized. Tonight, you're considering appropriations of $200,000 for repair. However, this likely will not be enough. We estimate that the total cost of the repairs will be closer to $400,000. To help offset this, we are working to get the tower listed on the National Register of Historic Places, which may open up some new funding opportunities. To begin, scaffolding must be installed on both the interior and the exterior of the tower. This will stabilize the structure so that an engineer can perform a thorough and safe inspection. We will then proceed with repairs based on those findings. Unfortunately, we expect the tower to remain closed until at least the next fiscal year. We have received questions about why the tree and the lights are on the tower, why they have not yet been removed, and we cannot remove them at this time simply because it's not safe to send the staff up there inside the building. I love the tower as a destination, a landmark, and a beloved icon of Greenfield. We are fully committed to getting it safely repaired. It's just going to take a little bit of time. DOR and Finance, I want to update you on the reconciliation. We are in contact with Clifton, Larson, and Allen, whom Ways and Means is going to vote for, hopefully will vote to hire for this reconciliation. There's a $75,000 appropriation on your agenda tonight to allow us to move forward with contracting their services. I think it's just a first reading for tonight, though. Additionally, the 24 audit is nearly complete. During the process, we discovered that our actuarial numbers of employees from FY '21 to '23 included about 80 additional employees. This means that the OPEB actuarial cost was inflated for those years, and the error caused a delay in finishing the 24 audit. Due to that error in 21 and 23, the auditor won't release a qualified opinion in this area till that's rectified, I think. Is that correct? Okay. Downtown cleanup effort, we are stepping up our efforts on cleaning and keeping clean the downtown. As a reminder, it is the responsibility of the property owners and their occupants to keep their adjacent sidewalks and street frontage clean and free and litter-free. Many of our local businesses are already doing a fantastic job on that, and I want to thank them. I also want to express my gratitude to the many community volunteers who have generously given their time to help cleaning up the downtown. The city is also going to work harder on our areas that we're in charge of. You may soon see the mayor's office staff and me out picking up litter in front of City Hall. We're working on keeping everything that we own in the sidewalks out in front of, like the library, the substation, the police office, the pocket park, and the common. So to encourage this, we plan on giving an award, a Golden Broom Award to the cleanest downtown property. Additionally, our DPW will be installing new trash barrels downtown over the coming weeks. That said, there are some properties that are consistently neglected. We will begin enforcing our local ordinance and fining those who remain in violation. Fines would range from $50 for a first offense up to $400 for a fifth. I really hope that we don't have to issue any fines at all. However, we want to have a clean and welcoming downtown. And we must be willing to use both carrots and sticks to achieve this goal. Finally, we had a wonderful reading of the Declaration of Independence last Wednesday on the Common. About 25 people attended, and most took turns reading a section of the document. For those who didn't catch the news coverage, the Museum of Printing in Haverhill produced beautiful reproductions using 18th century printing techniques. State representatives delivered these to towns across the Commonwealth. I want to thank Representative Whips, who delivered ours to the clerk's office last week. She actually did one of her deliveries on horseback, but she did all of our communities. And I think there was a representative who did all the deliveries on horseback. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Councilors? Councilor Golub.
As I was looking through the agenda, a question came up for me, which is, do we have an update on Green River School? And I know that we had borrowed about $1 million from the city or something like that, and we were wondering whether or not we were going to have to give it back. Have we received notice about whether we'll need to give that money back? Do we know yet?
So that's a great question. That was a MSBA, you're correct. It's an MSBA loan that was on that for, I think it was like $990,000, just about $1 million.
Yeah.
So that's been the question since we took it. And we've been working with our delegation on that, because we're not the only city that's in this position. Everybody has declining enrollment, which means there's a lot of schools that are no longer in use that have MSBA money out on them. As a matter of fact, I thought we were going to sail through this because we were asking about that, but then somebody else got wind of that we were asking that for us not to have to repay, for the city of Greenfield not to have to repay its loan, and then some other got wind of that, and they're asking the same thing. So the MSBA has not answered us. We have met with them a few times, and at first their answers were, if you let us know what you're going to use it for, and then we'll tell you, which is a very hard position for us to be in, because we took that over from the schools because the schools they no longer needed it. But to be saddled with that would be very difficult for us. So we're working with our delegation with a couple of different ideas. They're talking to MSBA. We just sent a letter out to, I think it was, just went out to MSBA, asking for a little bit more guidance on that. But we've been meeting with them right along, and I would say not having an answer from them and being in limbo like that, with that, if that's politically correct to say, I don't know that, is probably what's held that up, because you owe $1 million on it. What, if there's a reuse for it, that actually very much goes into whoever's considering using it.
Okay, so you haven't heard yet?
We don't.
Okay, and the other, very loud, my other question is, the updates, I appreciate you giving the update about the audit. Would it be possible to, it's hard for me to track information auditorily and just hear it rather than seeing what you shared with us. Would you be able to include that in the, when you give an update in the packets, because it's a lot of numbers and it's a new context, so that the only time that we're hearing it isn't just hearing it when you say it, but we can actually read it before you present that
Okay.
information?
You would like that?
I'd be so
Okay,
grateful.
and I sent to
it'd be
you
helpful.
both things that we had, I sent to you both things that we had, both emails that we had sent to them. But yes, I will
Thank you.
put that part, I'll just send it to you, all of you.
Okay, and it could, if it could be included in the packet, that's where I sit down
Absolutely.
and read it all weekend.
No problem, no problem, thank you,
Thank
that's
you.
fine. And I don't like hearing numbers. I don't like hearing them the first time either. I need to look at them and think about it, so, well said.
Councilor Gordon?
Hi, thank you, Mayor, for being here. I also love Poet Seat Tower, and it's a beloved symbol of Greenfield. I think we all can agree we want to see it repaired, and this is a lot of money in a time when we've recently had to rescind a number of financial orders that we didn't have the funds to cover for systems that I think are, actually really important to keep the city running. So I'm curious to hear a little more about what the structural problems are and why repairing the tower is more, or at least starting to repair the tower is more urgent and important than the other things we could be spending these funds on right now.
So if you want to know what the problems are, at first I thought it was going to cost $100,000 to fix. There's 3 problems. One of them is the masonry. That's kind of a mess and at the top. I don't know that much about masonry, but it's shaky and wobbly, I guess I would say. Then there's the stairs, and they're not attached right anymore. I guess I would say that. They're like not welded together. So when you're on the step, if you were walking up the step, you'd be hoping that the person that was on the step ahead of you didn't weigh too much, because that step is not like attached right. It's coming like unglued, but it's metal, so welded. It needs to be welded better. And then the third problem is the electricity that's going to it. So those are the problems with it. Now, is it more important than something else? That's a good question as well. I always look at the things and think, what's more important than something else? This is important. It's like an iconic thing that's a part of Greenfield and an iconic symbol, I guess, of the city. And there's been a lot of talk that, this should be done sooner rather than later, so that it doesn't, like, there was a question of whether or not it was really going to make it through the winter without doing something immediately. And I thought, well, we're not going to have we're not going to have that to start. We had two things, for the historical folks to look at it. Margot Jones got somebody, and that person needs $9,000 to like put it on the historical register. I don't know exactly what that is, but taking a good look at it. And then the structural engineer part of it was another, $10,000 for the engineering. So, could that be held in light of something else? I'm actually going down now, trying to find out of all of the things that we still have there, how we can pay for that. And I've been talking, like, we need defibrillators. I already talked to the chief about that. I said, that's a priority, we have to get those. And we're putting things in order of priority. So is it, I don't know, is it one thing more important than the other? You do kind of have to weigh all of those things. So, you can decide with your votes one way or another how you feel about it.
Thank you. Just a quick follow-up to that. What can you tell us about the risks of waiting to do this?
Maybe not enough, because I'm not the best person to be talking about masonry and welding. Could you tell? But I was just encouraged to get working on it sooner rather than later. But again, that's a choice that you can make.
Councilor Minhas?
Thank you for being here, Jenny. I understand the money crunch that we're kind of in right now and a lot of cities and towns are in. But I would just like to say, as somebody who's been in Greenfield for my whole life and everyone around, like, the tower is such a central part to everyone's experience. Like, when someone from outside of town comes in, that's kind of one of the only things we can show them. We're like, oh, there's this little hill, and then you can kind of see the town. But I think apart from that, it's also, if we don't fix it and it kind of just crumbles, what kind of message does that send about how we treat our, historic places, how we treat our monuments? Isn't it kind of like our logo? So if the whole thing comes crumbling down, is that really a good look? I don't think so. So I'd just like to share that. And I think rather than waiting for and pushing the can down the road, what if it ends up needing a lot more work? And what's a $400,000 expenditure turns into, oh, we have to tear the whole thing down and build it up again. Can we even do that? So I like that you guys are reaching out to the state and potentially other agencies to see if this can qualify for some grants and funds, and we appreciate that. But this is like a huge part of Greenfield, and I know it's not like, the Eiffel Tower, but it is pretty cool. That's where the fireworks happen. Everyone goes up there when you're a teenager. You can screw around there. That's kind of one of the defining places of Greenfield. So thank you for putting in your effort to try to rehabilitate it, but I can totally understand the crunch that we're in.
So I just want to say on that, we have gotten a few letters from people who were very interested because they know it's a big part of our heritage and the history of the city. And initially, when we put this order forward, I thought the total cost of fixing it was going to be closer to $100,000. And now that number is higher, so we're leaving both of those orders in for now. And I do want to just say that although those numbers are in front of you, I just want to make clear that I now know, which I did not know when we put this order into the clerk, that the figure is going to be higher. So this is not the last that you will be hearing on that. And, it's a decision. All of the things where we spend our money are all things that we all have to decide together. Is that worth it? Do you feel like that's worth that or not? So thank you.
Councilor Webb?
Thanks for all the updates. I wasn't at the Ways and Means, so I think this got a positive rec, but not from me. yeah, it feels hard to say yes to this much money when we're in this crunch. I also am wondering now with the updated price, and it sounds like to get it on the historical registry, we need like 10,000 and then another 10,000 for the structural engineering. Can we do a smaller order for like 50,000 just to keep it safe and then wait until we get CPA funding next year, hopefully? Like, are there compromises we can make here?
Absolutely, Counselor Webb. So you have well within your rights to make any reduction to that, and I'm fine with that. You know, you go ahead as you're deliberating. If you want to put a lesser amount forward till we get more information, that's perfectly fine with me. I mean, it would be anyways, because you know, I live in America, so I go with whatever you all vote on. That's what I would say. That's perfect. That's what we're going to do. So when I was putting this forward, I wanted to get something in there because I thought we could do it, you know, for, you know, our first guesses. And they would, you know, just guesses from department heads with what it would be. So, but you may amend any order downward. I don't think people can amend orders upwards, though. They can't, you can't amend them upwards, but you could amend either one of those downwards to whatever, till more information was found, and we could wait till all of the things were in. I am perfectly fine with that. I wanted to get a number in there in time to get in a packet. And I would agree with whatever you all decide.
Counselor Garrett?
Thank you.
My question was answered by a couple of people before me, so I'm happy to move on.
Counselor Brown? Oh, sorry. Counselor Williams?
Yes. So the question I have is, understanding that it's going to cost $400,000, that estimate comes from who?
That came from one of the last engineers that took a cursory, you know, took a look at it. Not the official engineering thing, but Joe Puggs brought somebody out that was an engineer, and that person said 400,000.
Okay.
But that's, you know, not an official estimate, because they'll have to, you know, take a good look at it and give us a line by line on what it was, but I heard 400,000.
So then the structural engineer theoretically would actually give a real estimate once they come on board. And the structural engineer would cost about 10,000?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Brown, and then I've got Counselor Civison.
Hypothetically, if we were to reduce the financial order, what would be the minimum to keep it rolling and keep making progress? Like you mentioned, 10,000 and for the engineer, and what was it, 9,000 for the historical registry?
So you could reduce it to like 25,000 if you wanted. Then we could do both of those things and take a better and longer look. Then if we did need to do anything through the winter, I'd be a little, you know, I'd be a little leery, but that, you know, I'm not exactly sure.
Counselor Civison else?
It's my understanding that we did not fund, or that there was orders that were rescinded because of the free cash that were some important infrastructural things. What's the status of how, or the one, then there's some that need to be done this year. How are we going to decide which ones need to get done and what to prioritize?
So I'm already started talking with the department heads, and you'll probably see more next month. I talked to Paul Newell of the things that he put forward. I think he picked 4 or 5 that we absolutely needed to do. And so we'll do those as a borrowing. I talked with the chief about, both chiefs, about defibrillators just this week, and I'm trying to work out a little something of how we're going to pay for those. But For the orders that came forward, they were all DPW ones, and I've addressed them with Paul. One of them you have before you for the I&I. That actually was just a misprint when it came out. The first order that you got said, that you received, said 600,000 from borrowing to be paid for out of retained earnings, which was just actually a misprint. It was supposed to be from borrowing, so that was always planned to come from borrowing, the 600,000. And then he had 4 or 5 others. And we probably will borrow for those. And then of the other, I have some other ones from other departments that I had not put forward yet, so I'm looking at them and seeing exactly how we can do them, and many of them may be from borrowing.
And will we be voting on all of those?
Oh, yes.
And is there a total for the amount yet, or?
I think what was needed from DPW, I'm just saying this is an estimate, maybe around $600,000. And the others, I don't have that number for you tonight, but it was from several other departments, and there were a couple of them that we tried for in different ways, so I was hedging my bets on things. We'd asked for some earmarks for things, so I was waiting. I was getting, better estimates from Carol Collins about some of the vehicles, because, we had one that somebody put in for 40,000. She thought she'd be able to get a used something for 18,000 for a department, so I'll have those numbers for you for August. And you'll probably see first readings on them. If they were needed, they're needed, and this is how I look at it. If the department heads, they run their department, they have a lot of expertise in that. I'm not going to overcall them on that. If they said they feel like they needed them and it was, tied to safety in any way, I'll be putting them forward. And we will find a way to pay for them.
Mayor, I have a few questions. So thank you for all of the updates and all that you're doing. On the reconciliation process, can you just remind us how long you guys are estimating it's going to take to get everything in order to then get us to what they need?
How long it will take?
Yep.
I don't know how long it will take.
Okay.
So once CLA gets in here, I think I'll have a better idea. They might have an estimate of how long it will take. I'm actually not sure. We had 2 people in here looking at it, and they didn't get to the answer yet. Do you have an idea of how long it would take?
Yeah, I want to push them for early fall to get this taken care of, because the couple things that we want to have them do is the reconciliation, also get the work papers together for the 25-26 audit, and then we'll be able to move forward very quickly into December, the next budget year.
Thank you. My follow-up question, have you all started to project out if there actually is the $3 million deficit, and how you will deal with that, how the city's going to deal with that, if we end up with a worst-case scenario?
Yeah, I would want to, my feeling is that it's an accounting issue, and it's not a structural issue that way. So once CLA gets in here, I'd like to get their look at it once they delve into it a little bit deeper. And if it turns out to be a cash issue, then we'll have to come up with some better ideas. However, I do believe that it's an accounting issue, a booking issue.
Okay. I just want to urge you to look at, if it's not accounting, what that's going to mean for the city, so that we're ready in advance and not having stuck on our heels, spending money on big projects and then go, whoops. And then my last thing, which is related to the audit, so that's exciting that that's almost done. What's the process for that being shared? How is the public brought into that? How is the Ways and Means as well as the city council, so that we're kind of all on the same page with understanding what the auditors are telling us?
So as soon as we get a copy of that audit, that would be shared with Ways and Means. I have been through that process before. You'll actually get a copy of it. And then I think you can, if you have any, we had a night in the past when we actually had the auditor come. If you had any questions, if you want to do that, we'd be happy to do that.
Please.
Okay.
I know for a lot of companies and nonprofits, that's pretty standard practice,
Yep.
so. I've lost track on who's who, so Councilor Golub and then, Councilor Golub and then Councilor Gordon.
I have a couple more questions. One is actually related to the transfers. Will you be here when we discuss those? Okay, I'll save my question to then. Two, did you just say that the $600,000 for influent infiltration is supposed to be on this month's agenda? Because I may just not be seeing it, but I'm not seeing it.
Is it under first reading?
It's
First
under,
reading.
it's under
Okay.
as a first reading, so.
I didn't scroll far enough. Okay.
Oh, phew.
Okay, it's there. sorry to, okay. When you were on council, you were an expert on capitalization, the amounts of money and capitalization impacting our bond ratings. And I am quite concerned about the amount that we have in capital stabilization and how it might impact our bond rating. And I'm wondering, do you know if there's a threshold amount under which it drops that it affects it, or what your thinking is, both of you, what your thinking is about us drawing down from capital stabilization and how it's affecting our bond rating, especially given the fact that we're wanting to borrow so much now?
So, the capital stabilization, money generally goes into that to pay for capital, to pay for capital expenditures. That's the place for that, for it to go in and out and to go up and down. Our stabilization account is the one that I look at that I would not want to touch. We actually did touch that last year to balance the budget. We put in, I think, $825,000 from that. Before we did any of that, we had heard from bond counsel that we, along with many other communities, may have a drop in our bond rating. So I think there's a very good chance and I think I know that I told you that at a meeting last year, that there was a good chance that our bond rating could go down. I think that's a very definite possibility. I don't know that there's an exact number for that. It is better if you don't touch it at all, but we, like many, many communities, have reached into that this year. We're in a different situation because of where we are, but many communities did go into their stabilizations to balance their accounts because of health insurance costs. So we're not alone in that, and it's predicted that many communities' bond rating may go down, but I don't have an exact, to answer your question, I don't know what that number is. It would be better if you never touched it, your savings account. That would be the best case scenario, and they would be looking at that favorably, and we weren't in a position to do that.
One more question. I want to echo what I think Councilor Citizen Alves was asking for in terms of a plan of priorities. I will share my thoughts about Poet Seat in a bit. I will say I am not a yes vote tonight, and I'll share more about why later. But in order for me to, I want Poet Seat to exist. I don't want it to crumble. In order for me to believe that I am making a responsible decision in putting any money toward that, I would need to see a comprehensive plan of where, to make sure that all the requests that are coming from our departments are tended to in a responsible way. And when we're borrowing so much, it's really impacting taxpayers. So I'm requesting, please, to as comprehensively as possible, to share with us how the priorities, all the different priorities are being met together, instead of just having the different piecemeal requests. Like this just coming in and of itself without that is not something I can in good, prudently vote yes on tonight. So I want to though, and so you said it's our decision, it's your decision too. I'm saying it would help us greatly in all of our coming financial decisions to have a comprehensive plan, to see the priorities that are coming forward from the city. So.
I think those are very valid points, and I would just say, if you didn't want to vote for that tonight, I would vote for enough money to do both of the engineers. I mean, I would vote for the historical, this is me, just saying what I do. If I were in your position, I would at least vote for the engineer. Like, I would vote for $25,000 so you could get started on it. And Councilor Golub, to have that whole thing of what was going to be done, I think we'd have to pay for the engineer to do that. That would be $10,000. The other part about the historical piece, that's hopefully to save us money as we go forward. I am thinking about CPA as well, and I've looked at that, and I wouldn't imagine that more than on the outside, $30,000 to $50,000 from CPA would be an outside amount that I would be hoping from. So by all means, I would, toss that around. As I said, I put something in to get started on that because, we were hearing from many different people about the importance of Poet Seat for the city. And it is very hard to weigh things. I totally agree with you. Yep.
You said it's 9,000 for the historic commission, or historic,
yeah.
and 10,000 for the engineer. Okay, I will consider that. Thank you. Thank you
Yep.
for all these questions. Thank you.
Councilor Gordon and then Councilor Bolduc.
Yeah, my question was also related to the transfers, so if we're holding those questions for later, then I'm also happy to hold my questions on that. But I will echo Councilor Golub's comment that it would be really helpful to get as much information as possible about the rationale behind any financial order that we're being asked to vote on. I didn't see rationales for any of these in the packet tonight, and I know that everyone's time is limited and you're getting us, the information that we need, at least as a baseline. But, if we don't have the rationale, then we're stuck trying to figure out what are the right questions to ask in the limited times that we have in this meeting, or having to vote on things that we really don't have enough information on. So as much information as we can get in the packet will be very helpful and will help us help you.
That's great.
Councilor Bolduc.
Not necessarily a question as much as a comment. Having worked with the CPC, I can say that we don't have to be on the historic register to receive CPA funding if the Historical Commission determines that Poet Seat Tower is of significance to the city, which I have no question that we would do. The reason for pursuing the State Register of Historic Places is so that we can then apply for additional grants that would reduce the cost by and large for the city. And there are a few of us in the room who are probably asking, I thought Poet Seat Tower was on the Historic Registry. And it actually received renovations. And just recently, within the last 10 years or so, became eligible for that status to apply as a historic site. It has to be at least 50 years old, and the site that exists legally is not considered of that age, or it wasn't until the last 10 years or so. And in between then and now, I think the assumption had been that it was already on the registry because it has existed as the structure that we know for many decades. And so I think quite literally that this was something that nobody thought about, because a lot of this research, a lot of those cataloged information that we have, they were done in 1982, between 1982 and 1986. And that was the last time anybody had really taken a good look at the historic register. And so that would be why we're having to go back now and enter this information into the historic registry.
Thank you. Thanks for speaking up on that one. Councilor Baldock's been very helpful with this and with the stagecoach. So, thank you.
I look forward to the day that you're, hiya! Counselor Webb?
Exciting news. I have two more follow-up questions on this. So that's good insight of how much you think we could get from the CPA funds. I'm wondering then if we, because it also sounds like we could use CPA funding to pursue the historical registration. So if we just did the structural piece of it tonight and not the 9,000 and we waited for that, do we need to do that right away? Is that an issue? And then, can't remember my other point. So, thanks. My other point, have we ever approached the state, the DCR taking over Rocky Mountain Park and Poet Seat? Kind of like they do at Sugarloaf?
I don't know if we've ever done that. I do not know, Councilor Webb. I do not know that. And I'm going to, Councilor Baldock, I saw you nodding your head. Do you know more about that? And is that permissible with the chair if we ask? I think Councilor Baldock has a little expertise.
I'm happy to pass it over. And the thing that was in my head was, oh, here's a broken tower. Do you want our...
Yeah.
So the thing about the historical registry, and especially particularly regarding CPA funds, is that CPA funds can't be used to create historic designations or historic places, or you can't create history. It has to already be historic to qualify for that kind of funding. So unfortunately, it doesn't quite work that way.
So, and further to answer Councilor Webb, when any of these things come up, we immediately reach out to all sources to see who can help us. I let our delegation know that we're having a problem here in case somebody can do an earmark for something. When we had Shelburne Road collapse, we reached right out to Mass DOT to see if they'd like to take over that road for us. And in many instances, people don't want to take something over if there's a problem with it. But we do reach out to everyone that we can think of. We let FERCog know, we let our delegation know. I call up Amy Cahalan and see if she can think of any ideas for funding. So we try not to leave any stones unturned. I haven't reached out to any agency to see if they'd like to take over the whole of that park. I think that might meet with some resistance from, some folks here, if you have somebody else taking over, but.
Thank you, Mayor. I have two final questions. So one is just the $825,000 that came out of stabilization to balance last year's budget. How were we communicated about that? And was that part of the budget plan originally, or was there some expenses that were unanticipated?
So you received financial orders. That's how that was communicated to me. You all voted on those. I forget what month, but it was all voted in financial orders, so it was in front of you in some capacity. And what happened, generally speaking, at the end of the year, between May 15th and August 30th, you can move money around. Is that correct? May 15th and August 30th?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Or September something?
no, July 30th.
Is it July 30th?
Yeah, you have a month to do it.
Okay, well, there's some deadlines in there, okay? Between May 15th and July 30th, or between May 15th and whatever, I go with what Stephen says. You can move, so you make a budget, and nobody's budget is stays exactly the way it is at the beginning of the year. You may have budgeted for a department, and they have positions that they don't fill. Or you may have budgeted so many positions in central maintenance, and then we have things like, say, central maintenance, and you have buildings that offer you lots of problems, and their budget ends up being over. This year, I can think of the budgets that were over. Some of them were over quite a bit with overtime, and some of them with huge payouts to people that, had worked for the city for a long time. So, but within certain parameters at the end of the year, you can move things around. And last year, those transfers did not happen because we were nowhere near close to moving out the book. So we had to, it was past July 30th, whatever the due date was, for when you could move funds from one to another. We had several accounts that were under budget that we normally would have moved the money from an under budget account to an over budget account, so that you wouldn't have it, that we would not have had to take it from stabilization. And that is what happened last year, that we had to take it from the stabilization because the Department of Revenue, we were past the deadline by the Department of Revenue when you could move that, and that was the reason for that. It was not that the budget was over by that amount of money at all. It was that some departments were. And there were many departments that were under budget. The whole thing, had it come out in the wash, it would have been that we would have been in the plus.
Okay, thank you, because that's my recollection of it at the time, so I just want to make sure that we aren't adding to our debt or borrowing through that work.
No.
Thank you, and I know Clerk Scott just noticed that today is the deadline for making those movements as per our charter.
And if you do have any questions about those, I'm happy to answer them while I'm up here. If you have any questions on the transfers,
So
we're both here. I'm more than happy to answer those. We're both sitting here if you have some.
I think I'll bring it back when we
Okay.
come back, if that's okay, everybody, just so that way
Okay,
everybody
got
can
it.
have their
That's
same
fine.
thoughts all at the same time. So my last thing, thank you for doing the cleanup of Main Street. I think that's really important. I'm really excited for people to get awards for keeping their areas clean. I know there's some new businesses coming in, so that's, and seeing which cover of the paper with the back end of Wilson's coming off is kind of bittersweet. Thinking about coming back through, and there's, yeah. So I know I've mentioned this to you before, but I would love to see if we can get the construction folks to do scaffolding, so once things are safe, that people can actually not have to walk in the street and get hit by cars when they're trying to go to businesses.
So
If we
I
can
think you're
push
going to
the-
have Amy up here in a couple, Amy's going to speak to you in a couple minutes. She was on a meeting today with them, and we certainly have brought that up, and I believe that that's going to be ending within a couple of weeks, and the sidewalk will be open. But I'm going to let you ask Amy that when she comes up, because she gave me a little synopsis of that meeting that I wasn't on at 3 o'clock today. But that certainly was brought up, because I think we all agree that having to walk out in the street there isn't the best thing.
Yeah, so I'm just going to put pressure to, if they're saying, well, we can fully open this, because it costs them more to put the scaffolding, if we can push them to do scaffolding
Yep.
sooner, if
Yep.
that's,
Very good.
thank you. Anybody else have any final question? One final question.
Not necessarily a question, but for what it's worth, as far as the Wilson's demolition, the Historical Commission, Margot Jones did manage to save one of the W's off of the Wilsons. And so the DPW is storing it, kind of like they're storing the stagecoach and a bunch of other stuff. Like, that's kind of what they do. But that is an artifact that we thought was crucial to Greenfield. And so in the future, the Historical Commission will probably be open to conversations about what we should be doing with that. And we had considered asking the companies going in to that new building to do something with it. But again, I just thought I would take the opportunity and put it out there that we have one of the Ws, and we would love to see some public thought about things that could happen to that. Because again, Wilson's was an iconic piece of Greenfield history, and this is a great opportunity to bring that up. So thank you.
You can't believe how many emails, et cetera, that we get. There were a lot of people that were interested in those Ws. They wanted the Ws, and I kept thinking, you know what, we can't give anything away that we don't own. I don't own Wilson's or the Ws, but people kept writing to me and asking if they could have those. And so there's quite an interest in the Ws that were on the outside of that. It wasn't something that I would have felt that I needed, but many people did. And we had a recent walk through there, and I thought they said that they were going to use one of those Ws on the inside, but more to follow, Councilor Baldock.
Thank you. It feels like a fundraising opportunity. Auction off a
Who
W.
knew? Who knew?
At least that's what I would do.
Right.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're up. Thank you.
Hello. Thanks for having me. I am excited to give an update on the Hope Street RFP. I've gotten a couple of questions, so I'm glad to have a chance to talk to all of you collectively. As you'll recall, back in the spring, we did some extensive public engagement around drafting the RFP. Shortly on the heels of that public engagement, there were a couple of zoning issues that cropped up, and so we put the brakes on finalizing the RFP while the zoning code was just cleaned up to make sure that when we issue the RFP, there aren't any inconsistencies in the code. This was specifically with respect to the height cap in the central commercial district, which includes the Hope Street property. Now that those changes have passed, I have finished the RFP. The mayor has reviewed it and signed off on at least the draft, and it is now with relevant department heads, including DPW, building, fire, and planning, just to make sure that they are fact-checking all of the information I have about the property and having a chance to weigh in case there's any information they think should be included in there, or if they have additional plans or information that would be helpful to developers. Comments are due back to me by July 24th. I'll have the RFP ready by August 1st. Which has then raised the question for me of August is vacation, and I don't want the issuance of the RFP to get lost in a lot of out-of-office on vacation emails. And so my current preference would be to issue it the day after the Labor Day weekend, just because I think the month of August it might sit and not get the attention that it deserves. But I need an opportunity to talk through with the mayor just the pros and cons of that. I don't think there's much harm in waiting until after Labor Day, but I will have it ready to go at the start of August. And as I committed to, I will be doing a public meeting to also share the RFP with the community and show them where the feedback was incorporated and talk about the feedback that we received that we didn't incorporate as well. So happy to answer any and all questions you have.
Councilor Williams.
Yes, I would just like to thank you for the intense level of work you have put into this. All the public hearings and, public meetings you had with folks to make sure that folks really had input into this process. So just thank you very much for your level of work on this.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I echo that, and I know nothing about developer process, so I'm going on a limb here, but given that maybe August is going to be not able to send it out, I don't know if you ever proactively talk to any developers who you think would be a good fit and could use August to be like, hey, I got this thing, you might be interested.
No, absolutely. I would not preliminarily share an RFP. But I think the developers.
This will be coming in September. I hope you'll-
The document will be released when it's released collectively, publicly at one time. But certainly in advance of releasing it, I could, there's no harm in me talking to developers. And I think the developers who are interested have been aware of the process throughout the public engagement piece and are, I'm sure, already working on their due diligence in any case.
Thank you. I would not want anything untoward to happen, so I'm not.
Absolutely not. Would you like to ask me a question about scaffolding?
I would. Do you store it in your basement, or will you be putting it up yourself?
If you'd permit me to talk on a topic off of Hope Street, I could give you an update on the scaffolding.
Yeah,
at
I'd love to
Wilson's.
hear about scaffolding.
Great.
Thank you.
You will be delighted to know that TCB and the team at Wilson's are not going to be putting up the roof with the scaffolding that you walk under, but instead they are going to be boxing in all of the construction, so the scaffolding is not needed at all for the majority of the construction. They're building that box now, and they expect to have it done next week, at which point scaffolding will come down, box will go up, and the sidewalk will return to regular usage. The only exception to that will be there is a point, probably not for a year or so, when they'll be doing some repointing of brick on the front facade of Wilson's, and they'll have to put up scaffolding at that point in time, and that will impede the sidewalk for a bit. But we should have the sidewalk back, I'm going to say in a couple of weeks, and hope that I will overestimate.
Thank you, and I appreciate your pushing this for us.
Sure, and to be totally honest, it required no pushing. They were very happy and willing to do it. So just to be fair to them.
Councilor Garrett.
Since we've jumped away from the Hope Street RFP, I want to talk about another RFP, which is the First National Bank one. I know that that is in the hopper, is my understanding. Do you have any updates about what's going on with that?
I do.
I would love to know.
That RFP response period closed. The GRA has met. It received a qualified and responsive bid from a qualified developer, and we have, the GRA has accepted the bid. I will say, caution, temper. You can absolutely applause because we are delighted. It is an incredibly complicated building and an incredibly complicated development site, and there will be what will feel like an incredibly long period of due diligence to find out that, to let this developer, now that they know that we are committed to work with them, figure out if this is actually feasible. So I am trying to not get too excited, but we have somebody to work with, and that's the most exciting thing I've heard in a long time.
I will get excited instead and say you've spun straw into gold. So hooray. That's very, very exciting.
Councilor Minhas.
On that note, could you potentially tell us like what they might want to do with it?
I could, as long as you will temper your excitement. Temper your excitement, friends. They are looking to have a shared commercial kitchen, food hub, community event space.
That sounds horrible. Could there be a Ferris wheel and ponies?
With a big W right in the middle.
Yes, for Wondolowski.
We are very excited about it and really looking forward to digging into the work. But just know that it will take some time because it's a very complicated site with historic complications and access complications and all of the rest.
Well, I just on behalf of the council, I just want to thank you for all the work that you're doing to bring folks into Greenfield. It's noticed and it's starting to happen, even while we're tempering our enthusiasm.
Slowly. Thank you.
Councilor Bull.
On that note, I had actually been asked by one of my constituents about what was going on with the Main Street redesign project, whether or not there was a timeline for that. I'm not sure if you could speak on that.
I am delighted to tell you I cannot. That is, I do not, I am not the point person for that, so I do not have a good sense, other than the general 2029 is my understanding of the construction start date, but I don't have an update on the status.
That's more than enough. Well, thank you very much. And if they do want a big W, just let me know.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you so much.
All right, so I'm going to move into our public comment period. It is 7:35, and just as a reminder, when you're called, come up, your name and where you live, and you'll have 3 minutes to talk into the mic. If you push the button, it'll turn green. So appreciate everybody showing up tonight on a hazy July evening. So Mark, Guillaume, thank you. My French is terrible.
Mark Guillaume, 83 Montague City Road. I'm here to talk about the rental registry ordinance, which I know just came out of committee. I don't know if you folks are looking at that soon or not. But when you have a chance to look at the rental registry ordinance, my understanding of the goal of the ordinance is to hold bad landlords, those who harass their tenants, who, when they complain to the health department, and who also don't keep up their properties, it's to try to hold them to account. I'm a landlord, I try to be a good landlord, but I do not support this ordinance. I do want to see bad landlords held to account, though, and I think there is a good process for that, and I do not think a new ordinance is what's needed to hold bad landlords to account. So what's needed is for the city to provide legal counsel to tenants when they have a bad landlord, and also for the city to take action through the legal system when there is a bad landlord. The health department already knows who these bad landlords are. The health department has a list of number of buildings that either they've condemned or they'd like to condemn, but the health department does not have the legal funds to go after these landlords. The health department currently has a proposed budget of $10,000 for legal fees. And $10,000 is not enough to go after bad landlords or to deal with harassment when bad landlords harass their tenants. It should be a much higher number than that. This current ordinance, as proposed, just creates, in my sense, unnecessary burdens for the good landlords. In summary, the section that really is uncomfortable with me is there's a permit. Would need to pay $30 per unit per year to basically be listed on the list of the landlords. But the city already knows who all the landlords are. So in fact, it would be a charge of $570 for me for the year. And as a business, not a charity, this is just driving up the cost of rents in Greenfield, but not solving the problem of the bad landlords. Now, once a bad landlord is identified, complaints from the tenants, referrals by the health department, there's something called the receivership program, which I was part of for a while, but never got any calls from the city. Basically, the receivership program, the city identifies property, problem property, even with tenants in there that just need repairs done. The receivership program simply needs the city through legal counsel to get the ball rolling. But again, there is no money for the city to get the ball rolling and get these properties and bad landlords in front of a judge who can then work with a contractor and get the properties repaired. So I'm just urging you folks to turn down the rental registry ordinance because it does not solve the problem. The problem is there is no money for legal counsel, and I know you're talking about Poet Seat. That money could easily fix all the properties in town. Thank you.
Thank you. Nancy Morka.
Good evening. In the past, I've sat on this side and I've sat on the other side.
Can I ask
Served
your
on the council.
name and
Oh,
address?
excuse me.
Sorry.
My name is Nancy Adamurka. I live at 241 Chapman Street in Greenfield, Mass. I'm a fourth generation family member. My son living here now is a fifth generation who lived in the same places, in the same house. Like I said, I've sat on this side and I've also sat on the other side. I was a counselor, I was a town meeting member. I've been here 75 years. I'm also a landlord. I think Mr. G did a great job in presenting a lot of the things. As a small landlord, I work very hard at maintaining my properties, at maintaining my rent as low as I can. I actually don't make any money on my properties. I make enough to simply pay my taxes, pay the insurance, pay repairs that are needed, and that's it. I'm not in it to make money. I kind of like to know who my neighbors are, and that's why I do it. But I think that the idea of a registry, again, is something, we already have a lot of laws in place, and to layer more is just, it's a burden to the small person trying to do this. I would ask you not to vote tonight. I would ask you to think about it and put it back out, and that's about what it is. Like I said, I mean, I lived in this town, you know, fourth generation. My great-grandfather was in the same house. All four generations have lived in that same house. Thank you.
Thank you. Pamela Goodwin.
Good evening, Pamela Goodwin, 54 High Street. I'm going to start just to let the citizens of Greenfield know that there is a press conference tomorrow in front of the hospital, and encourage people to go. I'm going to be writing a letter, an opinion letter about what's going on over there. I've been following very closely that hospital because I've been there as a patient. I've also retired CNA. I'm working with Suzanne Love, if some of you know who she is. So please show up, and 700 signatures out of a city this size is not very big. We all know what a resolution means. It doesn't really mean anything, but they are really struggling over there, and I hope that we can continue to support them. I'm so thrilled there's an actual press conference now. Also, I was told by Suzanne Love to have citizens call and speak, call the main switchboard over there and ask to go into the voicemail for Jody Stack. That's the president. She's not giving out her phone number directly, but if you call the switchboard, you've laid that person off, and you're going to probably get Bay State Springfield. Somebody's been there for 30-some years is now history. So a whole lot going on over there that I view as retaliation. Secondly, I would like to say I've been involved with the rental registry through Housing Greenfield, and although I understand these people's concerns, we had a whole lot of apartments, and we didn't know who the landlord was, and apartments were not listed. The assessors got involved in this stuff, and we've spent a lot of time doing research about what the benefits would be for the rental registry, so I am in favor of that. I am opposing the city ordinance about assemblies, and it's because in the past I live in a town with some very not friendly police people. I highly respect our current police department and its leadership, and if you're going to tie their hands and say you can't use tear gas and you can't do this and you can't do that, I think it's endangering our safety professionals, and it's also endangering the citizens, because things can get out of control. So I'm not happy about that, and I didn't read the entire thing. I didn't make it to those meetings. I will say that since we're 250 years celebrating our country as a United States of America, I would like to think that we could fly the American flag all the time and not be changing it out for a pride flag or changing it out for child abuse. And it isn't because I'm opposed to any of that. I think we need a second flag flagpole that can go under. Nobody's changing out the flags that are other places. And I'm not happy about the flag that's above the parking garage either. So thank you for your time. You do your hard work.
Thank you. I'm going to online, and I've got former Councilor Master Totoro.
Hello, Michael Master. Can you hear me?
We can, loud
Okay.
and clear.
Well, that's me. Cypress Street, Greenfield. I have mixed feelings on the proposed rental registry. I know that we've discovered in the past apartments within the buildings, but we're counting apartments here, not the structures, correct? So I know there's been in the past landlords with apartments that have been intentionally not known. So I'm all for I think I'm all for the registry. However, I don't know if I'm good with $30 per apartment annually. That's kind of sounds, we already have employees on the payroll getting paid to do their jobs. So to collect money for city employees to do their work, I don't know if that's the right thing to do. However, if you are going to do that, the CSOs and the service nets of the world need to be on board with this. I know they're tax exempt as far as property tax is concerned, but they rent rooms. And I think RDI should be included in that as well. So if we're going to charge, landlords per apartment, I think that the CSOs and the and their like organizations should be charged as well. They rent rooms, and I know the CSO takes a substantial amount of money from their tenants, up to 85% of their monthly income. So there's that. As far as the whole, what I call the riot ordinance, when I was a kid, I got mixed up in that unintentionally in Hempstead. I watched Hempstead High School burn to the ground. Things can turn sideways very quickly when bad things happen. And to restrict the police from doing their job is silly at best. I don't know if you guys watched the news, Newport Beach on Independence Day on July 4th, just last week. There was a flash mob that turned crazy. Over 400 people were arrested. Police were getting beat up by teenage kids. So you cannot tie the hands of law enforcement. My last thing is
Thank you, Michael.
All right, guess that means I'm done. Okay, thank you.
It's always awkward when you're online, so you can always hear it, I understand. So thank you, and thank you, everybody, for your comments, really appreciate it. Yes.
Name and address.
Hi, Donovan Lee from Petty Plain Road, and I just want to say, for the crowd control ordinance, I totally support it. These are deadly weapons, and they just don't need to be brought bare to in our community. You know, these things tend to just escalate situations where the most violent actors on both sides, both the police and whatever crowd has gathered, tend to just use as excuses to get more and more violent. So we just don't need things like tear gas or other quote unquote crowd control measures, which are literally deadly weapons brought to bear in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to go to public hearing and second reading. So I'm calling open our public hearing at 7:50, and I'm going to turn it over to Councilor Williams to read the orders and the public hearing.
From here. City Council, second reading, July 15th, 2026. From the very top? Okay. In accordance with Home Rule Charter, the Greenfield City Council will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, July 15th, 2026 at 6:30 at John's On Community Center, 35 Pleasant Street in Zoom. Meeting ID 971-57410-469 to receive public input on the following. Appropriate $100,000 from borrowing for repairs to Poet Seat Tower. Appropriate $100,000 from capital stabilization for repairs to Poet Street Tower. Appropriate $322,000 for fiscal year 2027 Community Preservation Committee budget. The City Council may consider the same on Wednesday, July 15th, 2026 at 6:30 at John's On Community Center, 35 Pleasant Street, and Zoom. Meeting ID 971-57410-469. Materials can be obtained from the City Clerk's office, 14 Court Square, from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, or phone 413-772-1555, extension 6163. Laura Wendelowski, Greenfield City Council President. Second reading.
Does anybody want to speak to? Okay, then we can go to second reading.
City Council, second reading, July 15th, 2026. Appropriate $100,000 from borrowing for repairs to Poet Seat Tower. Appropriate $100,000 from capital stabilization for repairs to Poet Seat Tower. Appropriate $322,000 for fiscal year 2027 Community Preservation Committee budget.
I'm closing the public hearing at 7:52 p.m. Thank you. We are next moving on to more motions, orders, and resolutions. The first is approving the election warrant. Would anybody feel like they want to read that? That's on page 7.
I can continue reading.
So we need to read both the order and then the warrant that comes after it.
Want me to proceed?
Sure, you've got the great reading voice tonight.
Order number FY 27-011, City Council Order, City of Greenfield, Massachusetts. The City Council move that it be ordered the Greenfield City Council hereby approves the attached state preliminary election warrant for September 1st, 2026, and further authorizes the City Council President to sign said warrant on behalf of the City Council. Majority vote required.
Second.
Do I have a motion? A second? Thank you. Any discussion? And now we need to read the warrant.
Commonwealth of Massachusetts, William Francis Galvin, Secretary of the Commonwealth warrant for 2026 state primary. To the constables of the city of Greenfield, greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth, you are hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants of said city who are qualified to vote in primaries to vote at Greenfield High School Gymnasium, 21 Bar Avenue, precincts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. On Tuesday, the first day of September 2026, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the following purpose: to cast their votes in the state primaries for the candidates of political parties for the following offices: Senator in Congress for this Commonwealth, Governor for this Commonwealth, Lieutenant Governor for this Commonwealth, Attorney General for this Commonwealth, Secretary of State for this Commonwealth, Treasurer for this Commonwealth, Auditor for this Commonwealth, Representative in Congress, 2nd District, Counselor, 8th District, Senator in General Court, Hampshire, Franklin, and Worcester District, Representative in General Court, Precinct 1, 2nd Franklin District, in General Court, Precincts 1 through 4 and 9, Representative in General Court, Precincts 5 through 8, 1st Franklin District, District Attorney, Northwestern District, Register of Probate, Franklin County, Sheriff, Franklin County. Hereof fail not, and make return of this warrant with your doings thereon at the time and place of said voting, given under our hands this 15th day of July 2026, and it should be signed by City Council President Laura Wendelowski as authorized by a vote of the Greenfield City Council by constable posting, and also to be signed by the constable and date of posting.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any discussion of whether or not this needs to go on horseback? Vice President Garrett?
Something really minor. They didn't write eighth, it's eights under counselor, so if we can fix that. Under counselors, instead of saying eights, there should be another H, right? Am I misreading this? Never mind, forget about it.
Never mind, all right.
Am I just forgetting how the word eighths is spelled? Eighth? Oh, it is missing an H. Okay, I'm not crazy. Phew.
Perfect. Clerk Scott, can we do a roll call on this, please?
Counselor Golub,
Yes.
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth,
Yes.
Counselor Bullock is not here. Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc,
Yes.
Counselor Webb,
Yes.
Counselor Brown,
Yes.
Vice President Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Minhas,
Yes.
Counselor Siverson Alves.
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes, and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next order is petition to the state legislature to create new annual alcohol liquor license. Did that go to Ways and Means or EDC? Councilor Garrett, could you read that for me, please?
Absolutely. Order number FY 27-010. The City Council, on recommendation of Mayor DeSorger, move that it be ordered that the City Council moves a petition the state legislature to create a new annual on-premise all alcohol liquor license beyond Greenfield's quota for the Bears Den, owned by Gleason Ventures LLC, located at 5 Bank Road, Greenfield, Massachusetts, 01301, majority vote required.
Do I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. And tell me what happened in committee, please.
So it came out of committee with a positive unanimous recommendation. Chief of Staff Ann Holt was there to kind of explain what had happened with this liquor license. So the context here, this location is the former Seymour Bar downtown, which had a liquor license that has been surrendered to the city. Unfortunately, that liquor license can't just simply go to the new owners. Because the city of Greenfield is now currently at the quota set by the state for all alcohol liquor licenses, we have to petition the legislature to ask for another one. And so this letter that we're being asked to vote on is basically to ask the legislature, which has to literally pass an act to give us another liquor license to do so. So it's essentially us giving a letter of support for this business to be able to operate in a place that was a bar and we're hoping will be a bar again. One other detail that Chief of Staff Van Holt mentioned was this liquor license, unlike most, because it's above quota, can't be sold. So it can only be used for this particular business in this particular place. So it's not like if we petition for this, they could go off and be like, haha, this bar won't open. We're going to sell it for $10,000. Because they really are that expensive. It's kind of amazing. So that was kind of the long and the short. Hundreds of thousands? Jesus. Okay. See, yeah.
Any questions or comments, councilors? I just had one question, and I think I got it answered, but this is just for this, because I think the wording made it sound like it opens up the door that we're going to have unlimited license.
Darth Vader is not happy with it. This is just for this one location.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, I think we can take a roll call on this.
Counselor Golub?
Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc?
Yes.
Counselor Webb?
Yes.
Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Minhaus?
Yes.
Counselor Sibbison Owls?
Yes.
And does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. I would like to move without objection several of these upcoming ones to go to our August agenda and go back to A&O in between. So the first one is the order number 3, adopting general law disposition of unclaimed property. Next one is amending the City of Greenfield Code by adding Chapter 351 on excess equity. And then the last one is the amending for public assemblies.
I don't know who that is.
Because of talking to, there's a little more tweaks with these from getting legal counsel. I'd like them to go to August. So can I have a second on that? We don't have a second. Oh,
There's no objection.
okay, so we'll just go ahead and,
What order numbers are they again, please?
sure, they're orders number 3. Oh, I'm so bad on 4. 7. Is that all of them? 3. She's working on it.
I removed him.
Okay. So that was 3, 4, and 7.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, are we all set?
I think so.
Okay, so we're going to go to number 5, which is amending the code for the zero emission first vehicle ordinance.
Okay, I can read this. Order number fiscal year 26-144. The City Council move that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council amends the code of the City of Greenfield by adding Chapter 460, City of Greenfield Zero Emission First Vehicle Ordinance, as attached hereto, and further amends the table of contents and index of contents of the code And further, that non-substantive changes to the numbering of the ordinance be permitted in order that it be in compliance with the numbering format of the Code of the City of Greenfield, majority vote required.
Second.
And this received a positive unanimous.
Dude. There's an option on the Zoom meeting to make it so participants can't
Yeah.
mute themselves. And I think it's in the upper right hand corner, it's like the little dots, if I remember correctly.
Maybe you could show her.
I have ejected the two people that were having discussions,
This is becoming ridiculous.
just to let you know.
Just wanted to frame this. We, as a city council, voted last year to declare a climate emergency. And so this kind of follows in that framing. Greenfield was the first green community in Massachusetts. And when we became a green community, we adopted vehicle standards that were, for the time, putting preference to purchasing vehicles that were lower MPG, miles per gallon at the and hybrids. So this updates us to current and putting preference on electric vehicles, which I know we've been talking about and doing within the police force and other places within the city. So this also is part of becoming a climate leader, which is a program that comes after the green communities. This would give Greenfield an opportunity to show our leadership and receive up to $1 million in grants for the work that we're doing. We're on a timeline because the state's only going to accept, I think it's 50 towns to get those grants, and there's about 35-ish in the hopper. So if we're able to finish this off the checklist, then we have one more thing that we'll need to do, and then we'll have those grants available. So this is a really great win-win for the city because it's going to save us money on our vehicles in the long run, both maintenance and cost to operate them, and bring us some grant funds. So I hope you all will support it. Councilor Webb. Oh, and now that we've muted everybody.
Ask to unmute it. There we go.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to speak to the zero emissions vehicle piece of this. I had reservations around it just with like, can we afford to adopt this? And in speaking with our energy director, Collins, she said because of the second cycle market for zero emissions vehicles and that they are now a lot more affordable and cheaper. So I just wanted to add that in case that was on anyone's mind. She also shared that concern, and she now feels that we are in a better position to accept this ordinance.
Thank you for that update. Councilor Sibison Ives.
What kinds of things will the grant money be for?
In a lot of towns, they're using it as demonstration projects. So it could be that we decide that we want to put a solar canopy on the parking lot here in the Johnson, which would give some more shade to people as well as generate electricity. So that's one option. I know Ashfield is doing a solar project with their wastewater treatment plant. So there's a lot of options there. I think we would have to decide as a community where would this best be used to move the needle in the work that we're doing to get to lower carbon emissions as well as do something that's really positive for the public. Councilor Webb?
Also, I guess to add to that, we're talking a lot about this in the Sustainable Greenfield Implementation Committee when we meet next Thursday, 4:30, or at 4 p.m. I mean. So that's also an excellent time to learn more about the climate leaders and the next steps that we need to take and how we're deciding as a city and city departments to move forward with that.
Thank you. Councilor Garrett?
I just want to thank you for the leadership you've shown on this. This is something that has not come out of nowhere. It's been at least a year and a half. I know that you've been working on this. I've been present when you've talked to people and found information, to make this, more possible. So I just want to acknowledge and honor the amount of work that you've put into this and just say thank you.
Thank you. If there aren't any other discussions or questions, Clerk Scott, can we have a roll call?
Certainly. Counselor Golem?
Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc?
Yes.
Counselor Webb? Hold on. Counselor Webb?
Yes.
Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Minhas?
Yes.
Counselor Sippison Alves?
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, so we're skipping the number 4. Sorry, I'm getting confused on here. Okay, so we're going to tag sales.
Okay. Order number fiscal year 26145. The City Council move that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council amends the code of the City of Greenfield as written in the strike-through attached here to Chapter 394 tag sales, and further amends the code, and further that non-substantive changes be to the numbering of the ordinance be permitted in order that it be in compliance with the numbering format of the code of the City of Greenfield, majority vote required.
Second.
This received a positive unanimous recommendation, and I can just share the background of this. This was one of the ordinances that we looked at through the ordinance review last year, and how the tag sale ordinance is currently written is that people need to register for a tag sale. Otherwise, various authorities could show up. And I think a lot of people are not aware of this. And I initially talked to Chief Dodge, and he was like, this is a licensing issue. I don't want to be, I'd rather not. You could speak for yourself, but I initially checked in with Chief Dodge, and then licensing, I worked with the Mayor's Chief of Staff on this, who was at that time tending to the licensing, and we agreed that it was reasonable, and then with the committee agreed that it was reasonable that no person shall conduct a tag sale for more than 2 consecutive days or 3 weekends per year without registering, because the concern that both of them raised was that otherwise it becomes like a standing business. I also shared with the Mayor's Chief of Staff that ultimately at some point it could be interesting, and this was from Chief Dodge, there are several different ordinances, the pawn brokers and the tag sale and junkyards. We have many ordinances that could be woven together. We chose not to do that. This was the key piece, just wanting to make sure people are able to have some tag sale without having to go to the Board of License Commissioners. And it received a positive unanimous recommendation.
Councilor Minhas.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, this right now as a status quo is you have to have a license or a permit to have a tag sale. But with this, you can have one without a permit if it's less than 2 days in a row or 3 weekends in 1 year. So this makes things easier. If you like tag sales, this is easier. We can have
That's
more tag
correct.
sales.
That's correct.
This is not adding
As
more.
long as you're not creating a new business, a standing business, within reason, yes, that is correct.
Counselor Sibison-Ellis?
And what about the signage? Is that change anything about, I saw something about that you're not supposed to have signs on trees or like on property that's not your own, like on the street. Is that?
This doesn't change signage. It could be that signage
That
is
was already-
another, the ordinance review was such a, it feels, I'm surprised to say that this is from the ordinance review because that was over a half a year ago. So it's possible that the signage ordinance also interacts with this, which is part of why I've been advocating for counselors when they bring new ordinances forward to do it in one, with the advice from the people I've spoken with who've said, look, this can be a mess when there's many ordinances that are not integrated with each other, and I've really taken that to heart. So maybe this does not change that, and that signage ordinance could apply, but I don't think that's there's a penalty. I think otherwise I probably would have noticed that at the time of the review.
Thank you.
I just had one question, and I appreciate the background because I just saw some stuff online, and we're not creating a new thing to regulate tag sales. We're making it easier, so I appreciate that. I understand why we removed the police chief from, why the fire would still be on here.
It's a good question. I honestly did not ask the fire chief, and that's a good question. I would be open to an amendment if that's what you wanted to do. But actually, I think if you wanted to amend that, I would want to bring it back to committee because I would want to give that some more thought. That wasn't a question that we addressed.
Counselor Gordon?
This is a semi-educated guess, but I think it's because sometimes if people have tag sales that involve, actual structural parts of their property, we want the fire chief to be able to enter if it somehow creates a fire hazard. And so since that's very unlikely to happen, I think, I have no idea how much it's actually happened, but I don't see a reason to take that, power away from the fire chief. So I would vote for this as written.
Thank you. I'm looking at Chief Dodge. I'm like, have we ever sent the fire folks over to a tag sale? Okay. Okay. Councilor Minos.
I will also say, most tag sales are on the weekends and stuff. So is the chief out and about, or the building inspector? Okay. So will they even be active during those days?
Well, it says chief of the fire department or inspector of buildings or persons authorized by them. So I think it's just basically anyone from a building inspection or fire, but has the right to enter if they feel they need to. It seems to me a reasonable precaution to take. There's no reason not to give them that right.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't want to belabor it. Maybe at the next go-around, we can make this, because it took a year and a half to make these edits. So anybody want to discuss it any further? All right, so I will go to roll call.
Counselor Golub?
Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc?
Yes.
Counselor Webb? Oh, hold on. Counselor Webb?
Yes.
Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Minhaus?
Yes.
Counselor Sibison-Alves?
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes, and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. So we're going to the rental registry.
Yes.
Okay. Order number fiscal year 26141, the City Council move that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council amends the code of the City of Greenfield by adding Chapter 4349, Rental Registry with Inspections, as attached hereto, and further amends the table of contents and index of contents of the code, and further that non-substantive changes to the numbering of the ordinance be permitted in order that it be in compliance with the numbering format of the code of the City of Greenfield. Majority vote required.
Second.
So this received a positive unanimous recommendation with an amendment to really taking seriously the advocacy for making sure that there are funds dedicated to enforcement and dedicated to the legal fees for the health department, for example. We put forward an amendment saying that along with this, a restricted fund would be created so that the funds that are being gathered for this are held in a specific place and would be used only for this purpose, instead of them going to the general fund, which could be used for anything. And I asked for the attorney to give an opinion to make sure that it would be possible to create that restricted fund. And the attorney responded saying they didn't have enough time to give a thorough response, but that it is legally tricky. I could read it, I have it here, but it's legally tricky to set up that restricted fund. We know that it's possible. We have enterprise funds and revolving funds and restricted funds, but we're not clear yet how to do that. And so with that, that was the response. I personally am advocating for this to go back to the committee so that when we vote on it as a full council, it includes that fund so we can be sure that the funds are dedicated to this purpose. I will likely make a motion to table, but I'm not making that motion yet in order for the council to be able to discuss this.
Thank you. And that will also be my recommendation. Councilor Garrett.
So I've been working on this for more than a year, maybe probably frankly the longest that something has been cooking as far as stuff on our agenda. I'm comfortable with tabling it to make sure we get this right, so I just want to say that right off the bat. I'm happy to answer any questions about the actual contents of the ordinance, but I also just want to take a moment just to emphasize the role of legal counsel in the decision-making process about when these ordinances are able to come before the council. It took 2 months for the city's attorney to basically give us the feedback that we needed to get this submitted for this month. And now, unfortunately, we have to wait longer, and again, it's worth it to do something correctly. But the idea of having a city attorney that is employed by the city is something that I've talked to a number of folks about, before. And I just think it's worth considering if that would make this process smoother, if we had somebody who we weren't paying an hourly rate to answer these kind of questions. So that's really the only kind of additional thing I want to add. Again, if folks have questions about the registry, I'm not going to belabor it now because it's going to be coming back. But that's kind of where I'm at.
Thank you. Councilors, any questions? I know this is going to come back around. Councilor Minhas.
I'm not on the committee, but I generally like this idea. The only thing that really kind of concerns me are the exemptions. And so I just say when it goes back into committee, if that's something that you guys can consider. One of my first works as city councilor was looking at the living conditions in some of our housing provided by our nonprofit agencies, and it was absolutely abysmal, and nothing could be really done about it. And I don't like that they're just completely given carte blanche to do whatever, and this doesn't include them. I mean, if we care about the living conditions of folks, I think the living conditions of the most vulnerable should matter to us as just as equally.
Councilor Garrett.
So there's limited legal authority in some of these instances. So the list of exemptions, most including, nonprofits, we can't go in and inspect something run by the state. That's not something we have the ability to do. So this ordinance originally, and this is getting into details I was going to kind of skip, originally had a mandatory inspection process. And so there are certain kinds of housing units that we cannot go into, and that's kind of where the exemption list came from. I think it's a good idea to, again, we have another chance to look at it closely, happy to. But that's really where that's coming from, more than anything else. But the mandatory inspections piece also, there was some feedback from the attorney that needs to be addressed, so that's why that's not currently in here, in case folks are wondering. It's titled with inspections. Right now, those inspections are not in there, but the plan is to bring them back.
Councilor Gordon?
This is just a comment on the exemptions list. Also, I know that so much work has gone into this draft, and it's greatly appreciated. And I think actually somewhat recently in the process, someone came from my precinct from the mobile home park in Greenfield that I think is pretty hidden, and a lot of people don't even know that it's there, but it's in precinct 2. And he came with concerns about the way that the previous draft would impact the folks in his mobile home community. So I just want to appreciate that you were open to that feedback and changes were made swiftly. And I know he appreciates it, and the folks in that park appreciate it as well.
I also appreciate the comments from our good landlords that are working to make sure that they have clean and more than livable conditions. And I know that from those of us who knocked doors for some of the housing stuff and who worked on some of the registry have also seen some conditions that are just appalling that people are living in. And I think it will behoove us to look at some of the comments about legal processes and those funds and, where our priorities are, and maybe putting something to make sure that people do have the resources to both make the complaints, but also for landlords then to be able to make the changes that need to happen, and that we as a city can follow through on those complaints that happen. So I think that's been heard. Councilor Golub.
Yeah, I want to echo that, because it hadn't occurred to me to create the separate fund until hearing your comments from the community, and then something you said, and I hadn't considered that. So I'm grateful for the comments, and I likely will support this, but because of the comments, I may not be on the vote the same way that all community members would like, but it'll become a better ordinance because of comments from the community. And thank you for your patience and willingness to keep working on this and all the work you've put into this. It hadn't occurred to me right until that in the discussion, so I'm grateful for both of that.
Thank you. So if there's a motion to table, I will take that motion from someone. I saw Councilor Williams, because she wanted to be first on that one. And then I think Councilor Garrett seconded it, if I saw that correctly. All right, we'll do a roll call.
Councilor Golub?
Yes.
Councilor Gordon?
Yes.
Councilor Dilmuth?
Yes.
Councilor Williams?
Yes.
Councilor Bolduc?
Yes.
Councilor Webb?
Yes.
Councilor Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Councilor Minhas?
Yes.
Councilor Sibbison Elves?
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
The motion is tabled.
Thank you. Staying with A and O, we'll go to appointments and reappointments.
Okay. Should I scroll down? Order number fiscal year 27008, The City Council move that it be ordered that the Greenfield City Council pursuant to Charter Section 210 affirms the following appointments and reappointments by the mayor. Agricultural Commission, Maeve Dillon, term to expire December 31st, 2027, to fill remainder of term of Elizabeth Nett, who resigned February 5th, 2026. Conservation Commission, Emily Bolduc, term to expire December 31st, 2029. Zoning Board of Appeals, Erica Green, term to expire December 31st, 2027, and Charles Roberts, term to expire December 31st, 2028. Both are moving from alternate to full-time members, majority vote required.
Second.
And this received a positive unanimous recommendation with gratitude as always.
Roll call, please.
Yes. Counselor Golem,
Yes.
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc,
Yes.
Counselor Webb,
Yes.
Counselor Brown,
Yes.
Vice President Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Minhas has left the rail, Counselor Sibbison Alves,
Yes.
and Counselor Wondolowski.
Yes and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thanks. I can see our energy is waning, so let's take a break for 10 minutes, y'all. I think we can get this done, and I'm not going to say a number, because then it will go till 11. So
Okay, so we are on,
So it is not 8:43, and we're back on order, and we're now on page 48, which is the Poet's Seat Tower. And I have Counselor Williams, who's subbing in for Ways and Means this evening, so thank you.
Okay, point of information. So in terms of proceeding with this,
We will have to read the order before we do anything else.
thank you so much. Order number FY 27-001, City of Greenfield, Massachusetts. The City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor DeSorja, move that it be ordered the sum of $100,000 be appropriated for the repairs of Poet Seat Tower, and to meet said appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is hereby authorized to borrow said sum of $100,000 pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 8, or any other enabling statute, and the mayor is thereby authorized to apply for, contract for, accept, and expend any federal and/or state grant available for this project to be used to reduce the within appropriation. And further, the mayor is authorized to take any action necessary to carry out the intent and purpose of this project. Majority vote required.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Whew, that took a while. We were like, I don't know if we're going to do this one. All right. So how did the Ways and Means talk about this?
We approved this.
We didn't talk too much about it.
We approved it.
Okay, discussion. Counselor Williams?
Yes. So I would like to make a motion to, I don't know if the term is modify or change this appropriation. I would like to lessen this appropriation to $25,000 with the understanding that in order for us to have a clear-cut handle on what is required.
Okay, so do I have a second to the amendment to amend this to 25,000? Second from Counselor Minhas. Discussion on the amendment. I see Gordon, Garrett, and then Golub. We're going with the Gs.
I appreciate this amendment. I would be in support of amending the next motion to do that, but I don't think that we should be borrowing anything unless we absolutely have to. So that would be my preference in terms of amending either of these.
Fine.
Counselor Garrett,
That was actually what I was about to say, so.
are you a ditto?
I'm a ditto, and my question is, if we vote no on this, could it come back if we heard from constituents that they wanted this to come back, if the mayor decided to bring it back? Or does it need to be tabled in order to reconsider it within a certain amount of time?
You just answered your question, so it can't come back if it's substantially the same, so it's better to table it.
Okay, then I will motion to table this.
But we have a motion on the floor, so we have to do the amendment and then.
Got it.
So any other comments on the amendment? Okay, let's have a roll call on the amendment, please.
Okay.
So no.
No.
Can I withdraw the amendment? Is it possible to withdraw the amendment? Because I stand corrected by my colleagues here. It should be on the next one. May I withdraw the amendment?
You may.
Then I shall.
And Councilor Menhouse also has to agree.
Do you agree? He agrees. So be
Okay,
it.
so now we're back to the main motion, which is $100,000 from borrowing. Is there any discussion about that? Is there a motion that is related to it?
If there's no more discussion, then there is a motion to table this order.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, let's take a roll call, please.
Councilor Golub?
Yes.
On the motion, on the motion to table. Councilor Golub?
Yes.
Councilor Gordon?
Yes.
Councilor Dumeth?
Yes.
Councilor Williams?
Yes.
Councilor Bolduc?
Yes.
Councilor Webb?
Yes.
Councilor Brown?
Yes.
Councilor Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Councilor Menhouse?
Yes.
Councilor Sibbison Alves?
Yes.
President Wondolowski?
Yes and yes.
The motion is tabled.
Okay, so now we go to the next one, Counselor Williams.
Okay, so I have to read it as it stands and then proceed. Okay, it's only going to take me 4 years to get this clear. Order
But we
number
don't have term
FY
limits.
27002, City of Greenfield, Massachusetts. The City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor DeSorder, move that it be ordered the sum of $100,000 be appropriated for the repairs of Poet Seat Tower, and to meet said appropriation, transfer said amount of $100,000 from the Capital Stabilization Fund. Majority vote required.
Second.
Okay. Is there an amendment to this motion?
Yes.
And what will it say?
That it would be the sum of $25,000, not $100,000.
Is there a second on the amendment? Counselor Minhas again? All right, I will open it up to discussion. Counselor Brown? On the amendment, that is.
Yeah, I guess I'm wondering, in the borrowing, that order, it says that the mayor is allowed to apply for, accept grant funding, and then this order, it doesn't say that, so I'm wondering, like, why that is. And it seems like it might not be an issue anyway, because we're waiting, but it seems like.
Clerk Scott might have an answer to that.
So the appropriation, and Stephen, please correct me if I'm wrong, the appropriation from capital stabilization, we already have those funds. You are simply taking them from a fund we have to use them for said project. The borrowing, the language that is in the order directs you to financial parts of Mass General Law that you have to follow to borrow funds, because we don't have them. So it's just, the language is different to borrow than it is to appropriate from a current fund. There you go. So we're still on the amendment.
So we're still on. Counselor Gordon?
Yeah, I just want to say that I am in support of this amendment. I think that we had a lot of good questions and consideration of this earlier this evening when we were speaking with the mayor. It seems like we're all on the same page in terms of our desire to keep the tower up and in good shape and wanting the city to be able to do that, but also doing it within reason and consideration of the many other demands on our city budget right now. So I hope that this is a good kind of happy medium where we can expend the funds that we need to right now in order to move this project forward and hopefully limit, any price increases of, future repairs. But I wouldn't be comfortable spending $100,000 on this right now, but I'm comfortable appropriating 25. So thank you for offering the amendment.
I too really appreciate the amendment because I coming into this meeting, I was thinking I was just going to table or vote against it with a really heavy heart. When I remember when I moved to the Valley in the fall of 2000, it was the fall of 2000, not knowing this area, we went up on top of the Poet Seat and looked. It was a beautiful October day. It was some of the best leaves I've ever seen. And so I love the Poet Seat Tower. It is iconic for Greenfield, and I didn't know that at the time, and ended up then moving to Greenfield. But when we don't know what our situation is, it just felt really hard to borrow money when we have so many competing interests. So, I want to make sure that our sewage is cleaned. Maybe before I worry about the tower, unfortunately. So I don't see any other comments, so we can do a roll call on the amendment. Councilor Golub?
I may even pass because I'm still trying to figure this one out. It sounds like it'll pass, and I am of the mind that I would like to see a comprehensive plan from the city of the different priorities before making any capital expenditures, because I'm seeing the things that were delayed, and I don't think that this is necessarily of greater, more significant priority than the things that we are currently not. I don't yet know how we're paying for. I hear that we'll be borrowing. I'm concerned about that. Tax payments are one of my constituents' biggest concern, one of all of our constituents' biggest concerns. So I am not even yet sure how I will vote on this, but I'm not making a motion to table because it doesn't seem like that's the spirit of the council right now. But I don't know how in good faith I can vote to make a capital expenditure when other capital needs are not, when I'm not clear how those will be also met.
Councilor Webb?
I feel the same way as Councilor Golub. I love Poet Seat, but it feels so irresponsible. But at the same time, I also know that the longer we kick it down the road, the more expensive it gets, and if it gets more damaged, I think I would be in favor of seeing a comprehensive layout of our finances and our capital plans and what's actually going on before saying yes to this.
Councilor Williams?
Yeah, I actually would like to argue against that position in terms of what we're talking about is getting a general assessment done of what are we looking at. This is not, I moved to do this based upon wanting to see something concrete in terms of a plan, to have an actual real estimate from a structural engineer, to actually move towards getting it on the historical register, which will, save us money down the road. I think that I have gotten a number of emails regarding this, and people wanted me to vote for the original cost because they see this as something very important to the town. So I understand, when things are tight, it's extremely hard to make decisions around this, but I think we've gone from looking at a $200,000 possibility tonight to a $25,000 possibility to basically get a grounded assessment going forward of what this is going to cost. And based on that, that's when we can decide what we're going to do. I mean, if we're looking at if we're looking at $600,000, what are we looking at? We don't know what we're looking at, really. We're basically doing guesstimates at this point. We need the structural engineer to take a look, do an assessment, and give us a formal estimate of what it's going to be. So I think we should move forward with this. Thank you.
Councilor Dillamuth?
Yeah, I'd just like to agree with Councilor Williams. It seems like this is and also Councilor Gordon, and also acknowledge Councilor Golub's reservations. This seems like a reasonable immediate step so that, as you say, we're able to fully understand what is needed going forward, and then also to start that process of getting the historical designation so that it puts us in a position to better know what our options are for finding the funding in future. So not a easy decision, but this does seem like a reasonable compromise to do the minimum that's necessary to avoid kicking this down the road where things could get a lot worse. And also just so that we have a better handle, like you said, of what we're dealing with.
Councilor Brown?
Just ditto agreeing with the amendment and your comments. And just from my perspective, it's a safety concern and it's blight, and it'll be a sunk cost regardless. Like we can't just like walk away and not spend money. So we're going to spend this, and we might as well spend this and do this, get it moving sooner. So that way then we're more informed with all the decisions that are to come.
Councilor Golub?
I'm curious what the seasonality of the situation is. Like, if we were to, does the assessment have to happen within specific months, given the cold? If we got the assessment by a certain time, would then improvements be able to happen by a certain time? Like, when do we need to get this assessment, or could we table it a month to get a comprehensive plan from the city, or 2 months to get a comprehensive plan from the city and have that? Like, how long does it take to contract engineers? What's the timing? Does anyone have a sense of the timing? Does this question make sense? I don't know the timing of engineering assessments or historical applications.
Councilor Garrett and then Councilor Minhas.
I do not have an answer to the engineering question, but as you're describing that, I'm just imagining Poet's Seat sliding down the mountain, and genuinely, and it's like, I just want to know that that's not going to happen. So for me, this is almost like an insurance policy to keep that eventuality. It's, again, that's an offside chance, but the arguments about having more information are persuasive to me. So that's ultimately where I come down to it.
Councilor Minhas?
Yeah, I don't have like a specific timeline, but like looking at it consecutively, if we delay the engineering, we're essentially delaying any type of preliminary or initial construction on it, which means that then you go through another winter cycle, which leads to more cracks, which leads to more issues, and then you have the thawing again in the spring, and you might not even, like Councilor Garrett just said, you might end up having to deal with something that's way worse.
just, I think knowing sooner what the issues are will help us when we're also looking at the comprehensive plan of all the other things that are going on in the city. And I appreciate your point about winter damage. I don't think it's the same as like putting a tarp over it over the winter, but there may be things, if we know information, that they can do to help it make it through the winter in better condition than getting worse. And Counselor Webb.
Yeah, I feel convinced to vote yes on the 25,000. That's all.
Any other discussion? Okay. We can do a roll call, and this is on the amendment.
Counselor Golub,
Pass?
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth,
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc,
Yes.
Counselor Webb,
Yes.
Counselor Brown,
Yes.
Vice President Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Minhaus,
Yes.
Counselor Siverson Alves,
Yes.
Counselor Golub.
No.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes, and yes.
The motion passes by majority. Now we have to vote the main motion as amended.
So now we're coming back to the main motion as amended.
Counselor Golub,
No.
I just have to unmute. Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc,
Yes.
Counselor Webb,
Yes.
Counselor Brown,
Yes.
Vice President Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Minhaus,
Yes.
Counselor Siverson Alves.
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes, and yes.
The motion passes by majority, as amended.
Thank you. All right, we're coming to item 12, which is the Community Preservation Committee. And that is still with Counselor Williams on page 50.
Okay, order number FY 27-003, City of Greenfield, Massachusetts. The City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor DeSorger, move that it be ordered the sum of $322,000 be appropriated for the fiscal year 2027 operations of the Community Preservation Committee. Majority vote required.
How did this come out of?
In favor.
Thank you. Any discussion or questions? I just want to kind of clarify the background that this is the money that we anticipate coming in, and so this is us being able to release those funds to the committee, correct? Okay, thank you. So it's not a new appropriation. Great. All right, we are ready for a roll call.
Counselor Golub,
Yes.
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth,
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Oops. Counselor Bolduc,
Yes.
Counselor Webb,
Yes.
Counselor Brown,
Yes.
Vice President Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Minhaus,
Yes.
Counselor Siverson Alves.
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes, and yes.
Motion passes unanimously. This is Ways and Means.
More ways and means. So, would anybody like to give Counselor Williams a break?
No, they don't want to give me a break.
It's a tough crowd.
Yeah, the beanies, okay. Order number FY 27004, City of Greenfield, Massachusetts. The City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor DeSorger, move that it be ordered pursuant to Mass General Law C-150E-7. The City Council approves the Memorandum of Agreement, MOA, between the City Hall clerical and library employees, United Electrical Radio and Machine Workers of America, UE, a fine union, and its affiliate Local 274 of the United Electrical Radio and Machine Workers of America and the City of Greenfield. Majority vote required. Point of information, the union has ratified this already.
Thank you. And I assume this got a positive recommendation?
Yes, ratified means yes. Oh, yes, we thought it was a good idea.
Okay. We know the union thought it was a good idea. Thank you. Yeah. Any discussion? All right, we're going to vote now.
Counselor Golub?
Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc?
Yes.
Counselor Webb? Sorry, I have to unmute you. Counselor Webb?
Yes.
Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Minhas?
Yes.
Counselor Sibbison Alves?
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. And now we're at the MOA with the DPW.
Order number FY 27007, City of Greenfield, Massachusetts, the City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor DeSorger, move that it be ordered pursuant to Mass General Law C-150E. Number 7, the City Council approves the Memorandum of Agreement, MOA, between the Department of Public Works and its affiliate Local 424 Unit MADIV 116 of the United Public Service Employees Union and the City of Greenfield. Majority vote required. This memorandum of agreement was also ratified by the union.
And that was done in the correct order, so,
Ways and Means recommendation.
yeah,
Did she give it?
she did.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Sorry. What? I didn't know if you had given the Ways and Means recommendation. I didn't hear that.
Yes, it was fully recommended.
Any discussion? Great. We will vote.
Counselor Golub?
Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc?
Yes.
Counselor Webb?
Yes.
Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Minhas?
Yes.
Counselor Sibbison Alves?
Yes.
Counselor President Wondolowski, would you like to vote?
Yes and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
All right, now we're moving to the year-end transfers, and I know we talked about this.
No, we have another memorandum.
Oh, sorry, I missed one.
Yep.
All right, and this is a Ways and Means.
Order number FY 27024, City of Greenfield, Massachusetts. The City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor DeSorger pursuant to Mass General Law C-150E number 7, the City Council approves the Memorandum of Agreement, MOA, between the United Public Service Employees Union, Local 424M, Central Maintenance, and the City of Greenfield. Majority vote required. This got positive recommendation from Ways and Means, and this has also been ratified.
Second.
We'll go for a vote.
Counselor Golub?
Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc?
Yes.
Counselor Webb?
Yes.
Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Minhas?
Yes.
Counselor Sibbison Alves?
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, now we're at the year-end transfers. And that is Ways and Means again. I'm sorry.
remember doing these.
That was page 98. It went straight, so it doesn't need a first and second reading aren't required, so you haven't seen this yet.
Okay, thank you.
So it is new to you
It is
and
new
new
to
to
me.
all of us.
Okay. Order number FY 27012, City of Greenfield, Massachusetts, the City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor DeSorgio, move that it be ordered the following sums be transferred from 01009-120 workers' comp insurance expense, $145,000. 01009-400 liability insurance expense, $18,000. 01007-510 debt interest expense, $6,800. 01008-200 FERCog assessments expense, $3,000, total $172,800, into the following accounts: 01008-300 state assessments expense, $172,500. 01009-170 non-contributory retirement expense, $300, total $172,800, majority vote required.
Is there a second?
Second.
Right, discussion, and I see that Stephen has come up to answer any questions folks might have. Councilor Golub.
Can you explain what we're doing here?
I was told to speak louder, how about that? So at the end of the year, there are some accounts that are in the negative and some accounts that are in the positive. And by DOR, as well as city charter, by July 15th, we have to make these transfers in order to balance everything. So what's happening here is that for workers' comp insurance expense, the 1, 2, 3, 4 at the top, they all ended the year in positive, whereas these accounts at the bottom ended the year in negative. So we kind of pick things that match up fairly well, so they balance themselves out. So the transfer is going to go from those 4 accounts to these 2 accounts in order to make them zero for the end of the year. And at the end of the day, all these transfers offset one another. So all the positives are offset by the negative. And for FY '26, we ended the year with a positive balance of, and I can give you that exact number, $766,000. So.
Say that number again.
766,000 positive.
Overall, with the entire budget,
Yes.
which would have been free cash if we had been able to certify it?
This free cash was based upon, it's a year in arrears. So when we do this, 766 would be part of free cash. But what we've gotten caught up with is the balancing of the actual cash book to the accounting cash book. So like last year, we ended the year with a positive balance, there's no question. But we can't reconcile that positive cash book to the positive end of the year balance.
And what happens if we were not to vote yes on one of these because we believe that one of the accounts, that there's an item here and it's not this one that needs more money? And like, what if we were to vote no on one of these? What happens?
The year's over, so we can't spend any money out of FY '26 budget anymore. So that's kind of a non-issue. And then if you vote no on any one of these transfers, that department would be out of balance, and then we would have to later on take that out of stabilization.
Okay, so if we were to vote, I'm just going to say what you just said again, so.
Okay.
If we voted no on one of these, all of the items above the second in the following accounts, the ones on the top have more money, they have money left over. The ones on the bottom are in the negative. If we voted no on one of these, the ones in the negative would need to be balanced with capital stabilization?
I'm sorry, general stabilization.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Okay, with general stabilization. Okay. And has that happened, what would happen if one of the count on the bottom was balanced with general stabilization and we voted no on it? We voted no. The bottom one was filled with general stabilization. Would the top one, that department would keep that money from last year? No.
No.
What would happen to that money?
it would just flow to, so if you're talking the top,
Yeah.
it would flow to the bottom line, and that 766 would become greater.
Can you?
I'm sorry,
what?
the ending balance of 766 would increase
The ending.
by whatever was not voted.
The ending balance, just the general fund, it would be the
general
general
fund
fund.
ending
It
balance,
wouldn't
yeah.
remain in that department.
No, it certainly would not. FY '26 is done.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Just one comment before Councilor Gordon. So I want to make, you always want to end the year with all of the department budget accounts at zero. So you don't want negative and you don't want positive. And what happens is you might have, you're guessing and budgeting, and so you allocate a certain amount, and that department goes a little bit over on buying erasers, and another department bought fewer erasers, so you're moving money from account to get to zero.
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly it.
Thank you. All right, Councilor Gordon.
Can you explain why some of these financial orders seem duplicative or seem to contain the same transfers to and from, but they're not entirely duplicative? So for example, order number FY 2713 has sums to be transferred from the Veterans Department and the Health Department. And then order number FY 17 also contains that long list contains those two transfers. So the long list in 17 contains some but not all of the transfers that are outlined in a couple of the other orders, and I'm wondering why that is.
Hold on a second, let me make sure. FY 2717.
Sorry, 15.
Oh, 15, okay.
Yeah, the long list in 15.
So
Sorry, there are a lot of orders here, that's partly why I'm confused.
There are. So let's see.
I think I can answer this because the expense accounts are different than the salary accounts, and so some of these are salary accounts.
Yeah, we have to separate expense and salary.
Just like when we vote as a council, we vote separately for the salary portion of the budget.
But now my question stands because the Veterans Department and Health Department expense accounts are the ones listed in 13 and also listed in 15.
Oh, so what we're doing is taking enough from, enough of their surplus to balance those accounts, and then the rest of the surplus for a different area.
Can you explain that to me like I'm
Okay.
5?
So let's see here. We have an expense, Veterans Department, 12,000. And then we have it duplicated here on 15 for another 12,000. So the total available in that account was 24,000 or more.
Okay.
So that's why.
That's what I needed to know. Thank you. And it's really the exact same amount. Did you just take the full amount and split it in half between the two orders?
It could have been 24,311, but we only
Right.
needed 12 out of each.
Right.
Yeah.
The Health Department one is just a much more specific number that is the same in both places, so that's why I was confused. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? So the state assessments expense, which seems very high, and maybe just explain to me how that ends up with 172,000 in the negative.
So when we budget for the state assessment expense, so those are everything on the cherry sheet on the assessment side, as well as, school choice and that. So when those assessments actually come in, they could come in a little bit higher. And in this case, it did.
Thank you. I just want to make sure I understood what that, because assessment can mean a lot of different things. All right, if there aren't any other questions, then we can vote on this.
Counselor Golub,
We're voting on 012, correct?
correct.
Yes.
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth,
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc,
Yes.
Counselor Webb,
Yes.
Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Vice President Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Minhas.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Counselor Sibison-Alves,
Yes.
does the president wish to vote?
Yes, and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
All right, so we're going to, next order, page 99.
Order number FY 27013, City of Greenfield, Massachusetts, the City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor Disorder, move that it be ordered the following sums be transferred from 01005430, Veterans Department expense, $12,000, 01005110, Health Department expense, $10,155, total of $22,155, into the following accounts: 01006100, library expense, $22,100, 01005440, Human Rights Commission expense, $55, for a total of $22,155, majority vote required.
Counselor Gordon, do you have a question? Or was that the second? Okay, thank you. Counselor Golub?
I will vote yes on all of these because it would be a moot point not to. But I just want to say that I don't like transferring funds away from the health department. We've had inspectors come here this year talking about how public health inspections are not being funded to the extent that they could be. There were ordinances dealing with public health that I didn't choose to update, but are not being, or that we as a committee didn't choose to update, but are not being enforced because of a lack of inspectors. There's probably more of a nuanced, more that could be said about that, but if it would keep money in the health department, I would vote no on this. Yeah, anything I could say about funding the health department and public health inspections, it's just incredibly important, and I feel it hurts my heart to have to vote to vote for this one. Yeah, what would you say to that? Do you see something?
The money that's left over in health department expenses is actually their legal line. Some of this is just a matter of practicality. I put extra money in the health department legal line, and then the legal invoices come to the mayor's office. We spent a whole lot of legal this year that had to do with various properties and everything that could have been paid out of that 10,000 expenses, but what actually happened was I had to sign off on those and do all of the invoices, so it ended up coming out of legal in the city. So it just wasn't spent there. It's not like, so I actually watch the budgets as we're going through the year. And I thought, I knew they hadn't spent any of their legal. I actually decreased that and took it out of inspections because the bills come to me and Diana Letourneau does half of it. She does all the labor legal, which that was a little over this year because, you know, we were settling so many contracts from the previous year, so you'd spend a lot of time doing it. We went way over in legal, and that was because we had a lot of housing issues that I'm actually delighted that we worked on and solved, and we just didn't bill that to the health department. So you'll see in a different part, legal was over. So some of it is kind of a matter of, it's important, but it is a little bit of housekeeping. That's where they go. There's 2 bills, and we don't even let anybody see all of the little details on all the legal things. You know, I just send that to Patty to send through as a warrant. These are all the legal expenses for this month without anybody's name on it, or without the name of that property on it. So for people's privacy, et cetera, they're paid through the mayor's office, and then we just send the bill forward. So most of them come that way.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad to hear that, and I'm glad to hear that cases were cleared up. That makes me feel a lot better voting on this, and I appreciate your work on that, and the health directors and the health department's inspectors' work on it, and just any opportunity I can take to advocate for funding the inspectors. Just
right.
Noted. Thank you. Thank you for your work on that.
Anything else? All right, so we'll move forward with a vote.
Counselor Golub,
Yes.
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth,
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc,
Yes.
Counselor Webb,
Yes.
Counselor Brown,
Yes.
Vice President Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Minhas,
Yes.
Counselor Sibisanals,
Yes.
and does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, next order.
Order number FY 27014, City of Greenfield, Massachusetts. The City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor DeSorger, move that it be ordered the following sums be transferred from 01006100 library salaries, $16,000, 01009150 employees life insurance, $500, for a total of $16,500 into the following accounts: Recreation Department salaries, $16,500. Majority vote required.
Thank you.
Discussion? We're ready for a roll call.
Counselor Golub,
Yes.
Counselor
Yes.
Gordon. Counselor-
Yeah. Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc,
Yes.
Counselor Webb,
Yes.
Counselor Brown,
Yes.
Vice President Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Minhas,
Yes.
Counselor Sibisanals.
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Point of clarification. Will Counselor Williams have to read every single line on this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
How about somebody else start reading? I'm losing it.
Counselor Minhas.
Thank you.
All of it.
Page 101. And thank you for taking up the mantle.
Yes.
Okay, order number FY 27-015, City of Greenfield, Mass. City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor DeSorder, move that it be ordered the following sums be transferred from Expense Department number 01001110, City Council, amount 9,000. Expense 01001200, Mayor, amount 3,000. Expense 01001250, Economic Development, amount 14,600. Expense 01001580, Tax title expenses, amount 25,000. Expense 01001610, City Clerk Department, amount 4,000. Expense 01001620, Elections Department, amount 2,000. Expense 01001630, Registrar's Department, amount 11,000. Expense 01001910, Central Services, amount 45,000. Expense Department 01003990, Tech School Assignments, amount 50,000. Expense 01004110, DPW Admin and Engineering, amount 11,000. Expense Department 01004220, DPW Highway Division, amount 6,000. Expense Department 01004250, DPW Traffic Division, 8,000. Expense type Department 01004310, DPW Landfill, amount 5,000. Expense Department 01004330, DPW Waste Collection, amount 15,000. Expense Department 01004380, DPW Parks Division, amount 30,000. Expense Department 01004670, Street Cleaning, amount 5,000. Expense Department 01004700, DPW Trash and Recycling Fees, amount 30,000. Expense Department 01004910, DPW Cemetery, amount 6,500. Expense Department 01005110, Health, 10,155 amount. Expense Department 01005430, Veterans Department, 12,000. Department 01007100, Debt Services, 270,000. 01007510, Debt Interest, 100,000. 01007510, Debt Interest, 65,200. Account, where was I? Okay. 01007510, Debt Interest, 6,800. 01008200, for COG Assessments, 3,000. 01009120, Workers' Comp Insurance, 145,000. And 01009400, Liability Insurance, 18,000, for a total of 910,255. Oh, there's more.
Next page.
Oh, God, okay. Department 01001350, Accounting Department, 96,500. 01001410, Assessors Department, 16,500. 01001450, Treasurer Department, 36,000. 01001510, Legal City, 12,800. 01001520, Human Resources Department, 5,500. 01001550, Management Information, 59,000. 01001710, Conservation Commission, 200. 01001770, Planning Department, $100. 01001970, Energy Department, 257,000. Department 01002100, Police Department, 60,000. Department 01002120, Parking Department, 1,000. Department 01002200, Fire Department, 54,200. 01004-210 DPW City Yard, amount 3,000. Department 01004-290 DPW Service Division, 95,000. 01004-350 DPW Transfer Station, 18,500. 01005-440 Human Rights Commission, $55. 01006-100 Library, 22,100. 01008-300 State Assessments, 172,500. And Department 01009-170 non-contributory retirement, $300, for a total of $910,255. Majority vote required.
Second. And bravo.
I need some water.
Any discussion? The only question I had, which on the previous page, you've got the debt interest for 3 separate amounts to make Counselor Minhas have to read it 3 times. I'm just wondering why that wasn't totaled together, and since it's the same account.
I think when they sorted it with the pivot sheet, that's how it came out, but I understand what you're saying.
Thank you. All right, we're ready for a vote.
Counselor Golub?
Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes?
Counselor Bolduc?
Yes.
Counselor Webb?
Yes.
Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Minhas?
Yes.
Counselor Siverson Alves?
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Can I have another reader for the number 16? Anybody have it pulled up, page 103? Thank you, Counselor Garrett.
Order number FY 27016. The City Council, on recommendation of Mayor DeSorger, move that it be ordered the following sums be transferred from salary 01001550 management information, $40,500. 01001920 central maintenance City Hall. Salary, and it's $12,700. Salary 01002100 Police Department, $66,000. Salary 01002410 Building Inspection, $7,000. 01002910 Emergency Management Department, that's a salary, and it's $5,000. Salary 01002920 Animal Control Department, $3,500. Salary 01004220 Department of Public Works, DPW Highway Division, $98,500. Salary 01005110 Health, $17,200. Salary 01005430 Veterans Department, $9,100. Salary 01006100 Library, $16,000. Salary 01009150 Employees Life Insurance, $7,000. Salary 01009150 Employee Life Insurance, $500, for a total of $83,000. And it goes on into the following accounts. Salary 01001200 Mayor, $26,000. Salary 01001230 Executive Administration, $3,300. Salary 01001610 City Clerk Department, $1,100. Salary 01001770 Planning Department, $10,100. Salary 01001910 Central Services, $12,700. Salary 01002130 Dispatch Department, $40,000, $500. Salary 01002200 Fire Department, $48,000. Salary 01002490 Animal Inspection, $2,200. Salary 01004330 DPW Waste Collection, $56,000, $500. Salary 01004380 DPW Parks Division, $42,000. Salary 01005410 Council on Aging, $24,100. Salary 01006300 Recreation Department, $16,000. Salary 01006300 Rec Department, $500 for a total of $280,000. Majority vote required. $283,000.
Did I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion, Counselor Brown.
More just a question that, why didn't this go to Ways and Means first?
Because it
They
was
didn't have
done
enough
at
time.
7, it was finished at 7:40 PM on Friday by the accountant. That's why.
And we didn't close it. The fiscal year closed out after June 30th, so July 1. So we had, 6 or 7 working days to get this done.
I'm wondering if it would be useful if they could put it on their agenda for next time, even just to dive into why certain things are under and over potentially.
So, yep, we can break that down at Ways and Means if you want, but many times, like a salary could be over. I'm looking at one that's in hours, and I thought a person left that was there for probably 30 years, so we didn't take that out of compensated absences. It came out of, mayor's salary line, that somebody's leaving and they have a lot of, sick time or whatever. That can make an overage in the salary line. But I do know some of them, so if you have particular questions.
Yeah, probably just, for me, it's the ones that stand out of the larger ones. So is it that somebody was hired that was unanticipated? Or, if I look at like the DPW waste or fire department, that's probably overtime.
They were significantly, they had high overtime, and, going into, that was one of the budgets that was the most in the negative, and we had several people that left there as well, besides overtime that was over. There were large buyouts or people that left, and so they have a lot of seniority, and then there's a lot of sick time and et cetera.
Thank you. Counselor Citizen Elves?
Just to say that we did spend some time in Ways and Means discussing this before the budget season started in, I think, January, February. All the overages, underages.
Thank you for the clarification. I don't see any other hands, so we can vote.
Counselor Golub?
Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Counselor Dometh?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Boulder?
Yes.
Counselor Webb?
Yes.
Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Minhaus?
Yes.
Counselor Citizen Elves?
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Page 17. These are a lot, you all. Counselor Gordon wants to read it. Thank you.
Order number FY 27-017. The City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor DeSorger, moves that it be ordered the following sums be transferred from 01007100 debt service expense, $270,000, 01007510 debt interest expense, $100,000, 01001910 central services expense, $45,000, 01001580 tax title expenses, $25,000, 01001250 economic development expense, $14,600, 01001630 registrar's department, $11,000, 01001110 city council expense, $9,000, 01001610 city clerk expense, $4,000, 01001200, mayor office expense, $3,000. 01001620, elections department expense, $2,000, for a total of $483,600. Into the following accounts: 01001970, energy department expense, $257,000. 01001350, accounting department expense, $96,500. 01001550, management information expense, $59,000. 01001450, treasurer department expense, $36,000. 01011410, assessors department expense, $16,500. 01001510, legal city expense, $12,800. 01001520, human resources department expense, $5,500. 01001710, conservation commission expense, $200. 01001770, planning department expense, $100, for a total of $483,600. Majority vote required.
Second.
Any comments or discussion? My only comment, I know that you let us know that the big energy department expense, so this was not something new for the council. Okay, we can vote.
Counselor Golub,
Yes.
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Bullock,
Yes.
Counselor Webb,
Yes.
Counselor Brown,
Yes.
Vice President Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Minhas,
Yes.
Counselor Sibusinals.
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
All right, page 106. Thank you, Councilor Gordon.
Order number FY 27-018. The City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor DeSorger, moves that it be ordered the following sums be transferred from 01001550.5111, information management salary, $40,500. 01001920.5111, central maintenance salary, $12,700, for a total of $53,200. Into the following accounts: 01001200.5111, mayor salary, $26,000. 01001910, central services salary, $12,700. 01001770, planning department salary, $10,100. 01001230.5111, executive administration salary, $3,300. 01001610, city clerk department salary, $1,100, for a total of $53,200. Majority vote required.
Second.
Any discussion? Counselor Golub?
Can you share why the additional, or that 26,000 went into the mayor's salary? What that was for?
Licensing.
Okay.
That was
You were covering that.
licensing buyout, and also that individual was not there for quite a while, so there was, some of that work was picked up by people in the mayor's office for,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. Thank you.
All right, we're ready to vote.
Counselor, excuse me. Wrong button. Counselor Golub,
Yes.
Counselor Gordon,
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Counselor Bullock,
Yes.
Counselor Webb,
Yes.
Counselor Brown,
Yes.
Vice President Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Minhas,
Yes.
Counselor Sibusinals.
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Anyone up for the next page, 107? Okay, We'll let you keep going.
It's more interesting than listening. No offense to anybody. Order number FY 27-019. City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor DeSorger, move that it be ordered the following sums be transferred from 0100-5110 Health Department salaries, $17,200. 0100-5430 Veteran Department salaries, $9,100, for a total of $26,300. Into the following accounts: 0100-5410 Council on Aging salaries, $24,100. 0100-2490 Animal Inspection salaries, $2,200, for a total of $26,300. Majority vote required.
Second.
Counselor Golub.
Sorry, I'm talking a lot tonight, but this salary line from the health department is different than the legal expenses. Can you share why the salary, the health department salary wasn't used? And
I don't have that. I don't have that in my head right now. So what I would say is, if there's a position that is not filled, or if we hired, if we budgeted that, say, as of July 1, and then hired a person, and this happens a lot, there's positions that you put in that we said, yep, we're going to budget for that, and then we put out something as soon as it's budgeted, and then maybe we hire the person in October. Then there's leftover money in that.
Yep.
And that, happens a lot. There's positions that are unfilled, so that's why that salary line would be under. Why there would be leftover if you hadn't filled the position, but I don't have that one in the top of my head, who exactly is there.
That's fair, thank you. And if there is a significant amount like that, like say somebody's hired, I'm thinking out loud, but I'm just wondering if that money could ever be used for hiring someone and another person, but I guess not if you don't have that line item, if you're not anticipating for that line item to be covered ongoingly, correct? Is that?
Right, but it could be, I think we were adding to the health department this year. That was one of the departments they actually needed, like another inspector.
Yeah.
So if everybody's filled in that, they would spend all their money. However, if they have somebody leave that had a lot of years of seniority, they would have things that we had to pay them as they left, which they are very much entitled to. But you don't budget for that. You don't budget for, any buyback. In that, we just budget for all of the salaries, and many times you don't fill all the positions, or you could have, you could have somebody that was 0.8 one year and then, go to full-time the next year, but that would have been budgeted for in that fiscal year.
Okay, thank you.
It almost never comes out that we budget a whole budget in a department, and that's exactly what they use. So these things happen, and nobody spends every penny, or sometimes they may spend every penny and spend more because there were things there were more emergency calls than you anticipated.
I'll just comment, it also appears that there's a lot of ins and outs where you're trying to match up the numbers, so it might not be like it was that position, because I see some money moving in and out as you're doing, I don't know if I want to say Tetris, but it feels like there's just a lot of moving parts here, so I appreciate all of the, it makes my head hurt a little bit to think, to see all these lines, and then you had to figure out how to match them from all the different places, so thank you. Any other comments, questions? Okay.
Counselor Golub?
Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc?
Yes.
Counselor Webb?
Yes.
Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Minhas?
Yes.
Counselor Citizen Alves?
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Great, we're on the next page.
Order number FY 27-020. City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor Disorder, move that it be ordered the following sums be transferred from 01007510 debt interest expense, $65,200, 01003990 tech school assessments expense, $50,000, for a total of $115,200, into the following accounts: 01002100 police department expense, $60,000, 01002200 fire department expense, $54,200, 01002120 parking department expense, $1,000, for a total of $115,200. Majority vote required.
Second?
Counselor Brown.
Not sure if you remember off the top of your head, but what the police and fire expenses are?
I know what the overage in the police, it was all it was the vehicle maintenance, it's way over. Fire department expense, I can't remember offhand, but we can get that to you at the next Ways and Means meeting. Their overtime would have been under the salary line, right? Overtime would have been under salaries. So I remember they were over in overtime. I don't remember what was over in expenses in their department, but everybody's, if they had vehicles, the vehicle maintenance this year was like 200% more than you'd expected. It's just the increase in cost.
I think we're ready to vote.
Counselor Golem?
Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc?
Yes.
Counselor Webb?
Yes.
Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Minhaus?
Yes. Yes.
Counselor Sibbison Alves?
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Order number FY 27-021. The City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor Disorder, move that it be ordered the following sums be transferred from 01002100 police department salaries, $66,000, 01002410 building inspection salaries, $7,000, 01002910 emergency management department salaries, $5,000, 01002920 animal control department salaries, $3,500, 01009150 employees life insurance, $7,000, for a total of $88,500, into the following accounts: 01002130 dispatch department salaries, $40,500, 01002200 fire department salaries, $48,000, total $88,500. Majority vote required.
Second.
Questions? Clerk Scott?
Counselor Golem?
Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc?
Yes.
Counselor Webb?
Yes.
Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Minhaus?
Yes.
Counselor Sibbison Alves?
Yes.
Counselor President Wondolowski?
Are we here already?
We are.
Yes and yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Order number FY 27-022. The City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor Disorder, move that it be ordered the following sums be transferred from 01004380 DPW Parks Division expense, $30,000, 01004700 DPW Trash and Recycling Fees expense, $30,000, 01004330 DPW Waste Collection expense, $15,000, 01004110 DPW Admin and Engineering expense, $11,000, 01004250 DPW Traffic Division expense, $8,000, 01004910 DPW cemetery expense, $6,500. 01004220 DPW highway division expense, $6,000. 01004310 DPW landfill expense, $5,000. 01004670 DPW street cleaning expense, $5,000, for a total of $116,500. Into the following accounts: 01004290 DPW service division expense, $95,000. 01004350 DPW transfer station expense, $18,500. 01004210 DPW city yard expense, $3,000, for a total of $116,500. Majority vote required.
Second.
I don't see any discussion. Question? Oh, Counselor Williams?
Yes, the DPW Service Division. What is the DPW Service Division?
They do all of the vehicles, the cars and trucks. They take care of, it's like a whole little business. They take care of all of the vehicles in the city, the maintenance and repairs on everything.
Thank
On
you.
school vehicles, on buses, on the multitude of vehicles that we have in the city.
Thank you.
We're ready to go.
Counselor Golub?
Yes. Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc?
Yes.
Counselor Webb?
Yes.
Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Minhaus?
Yes.
Counselor Sibisanales?
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Order number FY 27-023. We're going to bring it home here. The City Council, upon recommendation of Mayor DeSorger, moves that it be ordered the following sums be transferred from 01004220 DPW Highway Division salaries, $98,500, into the following accounts: 01004330 DPW waste collection salaries, $56,500. 01004380 DPW Parks Division salaries, $42,000, for a total of $98,500. Majority vote required.
Second.
Questions or comments? Move to a vote.
Counselor Golub?
Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc?
Yes.
Counselor Webb?
Yes.
Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Minhaus?
Yes.
Counselor Sibisanales?
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you all. That was a lot. I just have one comment, which it seems like a lot more than I remember in any of my time on council. And I don't know if you have a comment on that. Besides, I don't know if it's how things are budgeting a little bit differently, or, but if you guys just had some commentary on why there were so many transfers.
Yeah, we're budgeting much tighter, so there's a lot of overages and underages here and there. And as you know, we're under quite a bit of scrutiny by the DOR, and this is how they want us to do it. It does not help your voices, yes.
In the past, we have come to the end of a year, and when I was on city council, and never voted on a transfer, but they happen at the end of the year. And actually, you can kind of see the timeline. The fiscal year ends June 30th. So to get these to you, when the year is just ending on June 30th, many's the time that I don't think we even heard of what the transfers were at the end of the year, but they have to move between departments to balance the budget. Somebody's always going to be under and over.
I'm just like formulating in my head, is it that in the past, maybe things were moved mid-year more often, or am I just off on a tangent?
No, they get moved at the end of the year, and I think, I don't know, I can't speak for what always has happened in the past, but I could see how it might have happened, that things were moved from one thing to another and didn't have time to get to you by the July meeting, because to get this actually to Kathy and Tammy, by Friday afternoon so that they could print something is pretty hard when you really haven't even closed your books for July 1. So we're trying to let you know what the internal transfers were that are happening.
And if any transfers are made mid-year between any department or any salary and expense line, it would have to come to you in an order.
That's what I thought. Counselor Golub.
That makes sense to me. I mean, I'm remembering like the first year I was on council, we had like $4 million or something like that in free cash. Other years like $2 million, and you're saying that our free cash would be something like 766,000. You said. So it makes it. I could imagine that rather than being transferred between accounts, the extra money was just going to free cash, and we didn't have to look at it. Is that accurate, or I'm imagining this?
Actually, yes.
Okay.
So essentially what they're saying is that it's going to go to free cash, and then they're just going to appropriate for the negative balances out of free cash.
Okay.
Thank you. That just helps me to understand, because it just felt like a lot more than I remember last year or the year before. Great. Thank you so much. All right, we're in the home stretch. So going back to my pages, we are at presentation of papers, none, report of committees, none, unfinished business, none, old business, none, and we're on to new business and first reading. And of course, there are 2 financial readings.
I can do them. City Council first reading, July 15th, 2026. Approve $600,000 from borrowing for repairs to inflow and infiltration systems as part of capital budget fiscal year 2027 to correct funding source. And second.
Thank you. That's it. You just have to read it.
She's got one more.
Appropriate amount not to exceed $75,000 from stabilization fund 8,400 to engage Clifton Larson Allen LLP CLA to perform cash reconciliation for fiscal year 2025.
Thank you. And we have a zoning for Vice President Garrett to read.
Okay. Notice of zoning amendment proposal, July 15th, 2026. The following zoning amendment proposal has been submitted to the Greenfield City Council for consideration. Amend zoning ordinance, Article 2, definitions, Article 4, use regulations and appendix, table of uses, Article 7, special regulations, Article 8, administration, Section 8.4, site plan review and approval, submitted July 8th, 2026 by the Planning Board.
Thank you. That concludes our first readings. We have no motions for reconsideration, so I will take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
And now we're going to vote on it.
Counselor Golub?
Yes.
Counselor Gordon?
Yes.
Counselor Dilmuth?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Bolduc?
Yes.
Counselor Webb?
Yes.
Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Vice President Garrett?
Yes.
Counselor Minhas?
Yes.
Counselor Siverson Alves?
Yes.
Does the president wish to vote?
No.
The meeting is adjourned at 10:10 and a vote by the majority.